Alright. Alright, we're here. I'm awake, bro. My son has been up since 2 a.m. this morning. I don't know what he's doing up, bro. He's exactly like me, dude. Like, my son is a little freaking clone of me. Like, I have insomnia. If I wake up, it doesn't matter what time it is, bro. I'm up, dude. My son woke up at 2:30 a.m. I've been up since 2:30 a.m., man. Uh, uh. It's okay. It's alright. Today we've got the market to look at. Nvidia slightly green. We had a little bit of a rebound yesterday that I think I saw a little bit of a rebound yesterday, right? Yeah, I'm drinking some coffee. It's alright. Alright, so let's start it up. I'm awake, bro. My son has been up. Sorry, got an echo. I'm sorry. Alright, so jobless claims and retail sales come out today. Jobless claims are expected. Let's see. Jobless claims are expected at 220,000 is what they're expected, 220K. Retail sales are expected at minus 0.2% is what I'm looking at, minus 0.2%. You got core retail sales, regular retail sales, minus 0.2%. Thank you guys so much. We did break 125,000 yesterday. You love to see it. Why so early today, bro? I've been up since 2:30, dude. Since 2:30, bro. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I looked at my phone and I couldn't go back to sleep, but I don't have normal insomnia. Honestly, realistically, I probably got enough sleep last night. I fell asleep at like 8:30. Carol and I watched that American Nightmare documentary on Netflix, and her and I passed out at like 8 o'clock, dude. And so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. That's 7 hours, bro. I got basically 7 hours today. I can't really complain too much. But I do have insomnia, and I fall asleep very easily. Very easily. So it's not falling asleep. Falling asleep is never the problem. The only time I struggle falling asleep is if I got like a limited 2-hour window to sleep and I know I have to sleep, my adrenaline and ADHD kick in and I can't go to sleep. That's the only time I have like that. But the insomnia that I have is that when I wake up in the middle of the night, I can't go back to sleep. You know, sucks. Tesla up today though. We are green in Tesla, finally. Reached 195 almost last night. Yeah, for sure. But we're up. We're doing it. We're ready. Slap that like button. We're going to do a poll today. Does jobless claims Does higher jobless claims help or hurt the market? Let me know. I'm a morning person at heart, so I don't really mind it. I see Pawn say yes, saying passed out at 9, woke up at 4:30. Yeah, I mean, I'm a morning person anyway, so like, I get the best work done in the morning, which is kind of why it makes sense. I think that like I have this live stream that runs from roughly 5:30 my time to like 9 o'clock my time, is because that's when I really get the best work done. I'm the most productive. I remember when I was learning poker, I used to wake up and immediately play poker. You know, right when it's the most stimulating thing it could ever be, you know. And that's when I did the best, was when I first woke up. If I started up some games when I first woke up, my head was the clearest. My head was the most clear it could ever be, and I could just think clearly in the morning. As opposed to the evening where I'm virtually useless, I'm moody, I'm tired, I'm grumpy, you know. And my son's the same way, apparently, too. He has insomnia, he's a morning person. Towards the end of the day, he's useless and moody. So, hey, like father, like son, I guess. Coin, guys, flying up ahead of earnings today. This is along with Bitcoin. Bitcoin hit almost 53,000 this morning. Got up to 5270s. Big range. Broke the highs of yesterday. Broke the highs of the last few years, really. So shout out to Bitcoin. Coinbase earnings are later on this evening. We will be streaming those as well. So don't worry. Looking at our poll numbers that we just did, does higher jobless claims help or hurt the market? Supermicro hit 906. All right, guys. Wow, dude. I've been watching Breaking Bad. I've been a huge Breaking Bad fan for a decade now. I just realized that Bryan Cranston wasn't actually bald, dude. I thought he was really bald. I thought he really shaved his head. Why not shave his head? I mean, listen. You got that role. It's paying you millions of dollars. Why not shave your head? But man, they put a thing on him. Man, I'm surprised at that. They must have spent at least a couple $100,000 extra dollars on makeup and artists to allow Bryan Cranston to keep his hair in Breaking Bad. So, I mean, I'm not gonna go there, but it's a moot point. I'm gonna say that. Anyways, back to the real topics. ARM ripping up. Nvidia up big over the last year. Up again in pre-market. Had a green day yesterday, up to almost 740s, bro. When is Nvidia going to slow down is the question. When is Nvidia going to slow down is the question. I don't know. I really don't know. When will they slow down? Stock split's gonna happen. It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen. This is freaking Elsa. Alright, guys, so who the heck is texting me this early, bro? What is going off on my phone? It's 5:45. Oh, it's Pawn. Sorry, bro. So SoundHound AI, that's S-O-U-N, right? I'm trying to remember all these symbols in my head. Yeah, that's right. It's S-O-U-N ripping up big. Pawn is right. Look at ARM on the left side. Luckily, I didn't sell it. S-O-U-N. I gotta pull Discord up. I thought it was a text message. Hope you guys had a good, happy, you know what day yesterday. Boeing still at 204s. Somehow we're flat when we should be down. Tesla. Yesterday, somehow the market rebounded in such a significant way. What was the last jobless claims number? It was 218, bro. Listen, you don't even have to check it. It was 218. The reason I know it was 218,000 is because I guessed it exactly right last time. Exactly right. Honestly, it's getting to my head a little bit, you know. Bro, who in their mind invented curling the sport? Bro, this has got to be the weirdest sport. It kind of looks fun, though. Like, you get to slide on your feet for, like, 20 feet. And then the other guys with the brooms, you know, or whatever those things are. I don't even know what they're doing. I guess they're trying to clear debris from in front of it so it slides better. And try to make it into the center of the circle. Who in the heck invented this game? I guess it's less complex than freaking cricket. I don't even know. The cricket's got like 1,000 rules or something crazy. Goblins? Scotland? Figures. Figures. It's all right. I'm for it. Listen, some of the weirdest sports are the most fun. It really are. So I can't even knock them. Alright, guys. If you're in the winter for 6 months, you will find something to do. Yeah, figures. The brooms melt the ice a little so they can steer the stone. Ah, okay. When a stone gets pushed out, we toast. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm a black belt in judo. I'm torn on judo, bro. Listen, I took judo. I'll say this. Alright. And every time I brag about anything here, people are like, ugh, narcissist. I'm halfway trolling you guys. But it really is a funny dynamic here. But anyways, I trained judo as a kid. And I think there's pros and cons. I trained it as a kid. And I can't throw anybody at all. Like, I'm terrible at actual takedowns now. I'll tell you this. In a gi, I'm terrible at takedowns. Like, when I train jiu-jitsu, I'm horrible at takedowns. I have a very useful trap, though. Like, I don't need to take anybody down. And people are scared to take me down most of the time. Because if they shoot for my leg, I'm grabbing their neck and I'm trying to guillotine them, and I've got a good guillotine. And so most of the time people don't want to shoot on me, and it ends up being a stalemate a lot of the time. And I think one thing that judo did give me, though, is that I've got pretty good takedown defense as a whole. Like, it's hard to take me down. It's not easy. I rolled with my black belt instructor the other day, and afterwards he was like, dude, your takedown defense is good. He asked me if I wrestled in high school, and I didn't, but yeah. I guess props to judo. It didn't teach me anything else. I can't remember any of the throws or anything like that. I think jiu-jitsu is the obviously better martial art, but I think it has its uses. You know. I mean, if somebody's in a suit, I guess, if somebody's in a suit out in public and starts a fight with you in a suit, you know, a corporate brawl, I guess, then a gi would be justified. You know, getting thrown in a gi might work, but outside of those specific obscure situations, you know, I'm torn on whether the gi, not just in judo, but the gi as a whole is useful, you know. And I train in gi, you know. I'm training gi today, but still. Oh, I'm not saying, if you're a black belt, dude, you would beat me up, bro. You would throw me. I've never rolled with a black belt in judo. You would throw me like I'm like you're Ronda Rousey, okay? And then maybe I'd get armbarred. I don't know. I'm not very good at armbar defense either. And so, hey, listen. I'm not doubting you would beat me up, okay? My single leg is unstoppable. Listen, bring it, bro. I'm just saying, you know. You try to single leg me, You're going to get guillotined. You're going to try to get out of the guillotine. And then I'm going to roll you into mount and have a mounted guillotine on you and tap you out. That's what I do to everybody. You know, I'm halfway joking. If I roll against any really good white belt, I'm going to get beat. If I roll against a blue belt, I'm probably losing. A purple belt, I'm probably losing. And so I'm just kind of joking around. That really is that really is kind of my strategy, and it works surprisingly well. And I have tapped like blue and purple belts before with it, you know, like a good percentage of the time. There's some purple belts that I can tap, you know, but yeah, it depends on who it is. It depends on what their skill set is. There's some people that are just really weak in guillotines, and I think people panic. It's a very claustrophobic position. But then there's other people who can literally just kind of post off of their head and stay in it for a minute until I'm tired out, and then pass my guard and tap me out very quickly. So it just depends. Top 3 worst jiu-jitsu practitioners in the world right now. Tesla up to 190s. Are you 260, bro? Jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai left me with lifelong injuries. Yeah, I mean, I get you, bro. I'm hurting, bro. Honestly, it's good for me though. Listen, I'm gonna tell you what hurts my body more than any other sport is sitting at this freaking computer for 4 hours a day. All right. I get up from this computer and my hip and kind of like groin muscle is so sore from sitting stagnant like this for hours. It's so bad for you to sit this long while awake and like while sitting up. Maybe my posture is not the best. Maybe I should try to sit back a little bit more. This is actually technically a standing desk. So, you know, I don't know. Anyways, the Q up to 434s right now. The Spy all the way up to 499. You got SoundHound AI gapping up big. Nvidia's up slightly. Microsoft green. Google red. So Google is red. Apple red. What's the other tech stocks? Tesla green over 190s, looking good. Coinbase, of course, with Bitcoin's rise all the way up to 170s. The highs are right around 180s, I believe, for Coinbase, right around 180s. So we'll see what happens right there. AMC gapping up a little bit today. It's at 487. GameStop sitting at 1430s. Anything else that I missed blue chip wise? I don't think so, but we can look at Alibaba up. You love to see it. ARM, Boeing, flat. Citigroup, green. We're in Citigroup right now too. Home Depot, flat. Netflix, very green, almost up to 600. You know, there was somebody in here, I'm not sure, I can't remember if I told them not to buy Netflix or if I told them that they might want to hold it longer. I think I told them they might want to hold it longer, and this was back at like 500 or something like that, and I think I was correct. I'm not sure the direction, though, and I might just be wildly wrong, and maybe I told them the opposite. But I think my logic was we're down so much still from this big amount that, I don't know. The arm bars really, really hurt. Yeah, it depends, man. It depends on how stubborn you are with tapping in arm bars. Arm bars are that one submission, bro, where if I get a fully extended arm, like if I have this grip, you know, whichever I want to do, if I want the, like this grip, or if I want to do like a C grip, or if I want to do like, you know, whatever grip I want, right? This is probably the strongest grip, a C grip. But if I have a C grip, it's going to be hard to break. Once they get my arm extended, though, dude, I'm tapping away. I'm not playing with arm bars. You know, arm bars aren't going to break your arm. They're going to break your elbow. And I don't want my elbow broken. You know what I mean? Like, Kimuras will break your arm. Arm bars will break your elbow. I mean, they'll break your arm, but not in the same way. And so I'm not trying to mess with that, you know. Maybe not elbow either. I guess it would be this forearm. So I guess they will. But yeah, arm bars, I'm not playing with them. I'm just going to tap away. Now, I get stubborn with triangles a lot. Like, I'll get stubborn with triangles because most of the time I can stack the person and squeeze my head out of there. The other one I'll get stubborn with is I don't get stubborn with leg locks or knee bars or anything that has to do with my knee at all. I'll tap away to those. I don't get stubborn with fully locked in rear naked chokes at all. I'm not playing with those either. I will get stubborn with Kimura's, and I will get stubborn with like Americanas, just because I have pretty flexible shoulder joints. Like my shoulders are pretty flexible. Like it's hard to get me to tap to those, unless you got my arm fully behind my back, which happens, which does happen. I was tapped by one the other day, but yeah. The UK announced it's in a recession this morning. This will have any effect on markets? Well, if it was already going to, most likely. Today, what's going to affect markets the most is going to be retail sales and jobless claims numbers, which drop in hour and a half. We'll put a timer up, but yeah, it drops in about an hour and a half. So yeah, this drops in about an hour and a half. We'll get it a little bit early at 7:30, and we'll put the timer up a little bit early. But yeah, this drops in an hour and a half. Jobless claims, retail sales. These have the potential to really move the markets. And then tomorrow we have PPI. I can smell blood in the streets. Where? You're referencing the famous investing quote. And the famous investing quote goes something like, the time to buy stocks is when blood is running in the streets. It's a very famous market quote. I can't remember who said it, but it's a very famous quote. I want to say it's Rockefeller maybe, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't see blood running in the streets right now. To me, it looks like mania and highs up here. So it's just not weak enough, personally. Overseas, maybe. But with that, in that regard, Alibaba gauge on overseas is up over the last 24 hours. I'm not saying we're not going to, hold or whatever, but still. Okay, got you, JW. IWM. I don't ever watch this. What kind of ETF is this? It's the Russell. Okay, I don't really mess with the Russell at all. Small caps, I'm not really playing with small caps. Maybe, though. Yeah, Bitcoin flying up. Craziness for Bitcoin. Craziness. Jobless claims, retail sales coming live. Yeah, so I'm watching Benzinga had this funny this true quote, right? It's from it's from Dragnet in 1967. He says, "You've been smoking marijuana. Marijuana is illegal. I know that. That's right. For now. In a couple years, things may change. When all the kids grow up and start wearing ties and going to the polls, marijuana is going to be like liquor, packaged and taxed and sold right off the shelf. I doubt it," the cop says. "Look, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it seems to me there must be better things for cops to do than chase down wild rumors about something as innocent as marijuana. Why don't you go after the big bad guys, the ones peddling other harder drugs?" Absolutely true. Absolutely true, Tesla up to 191s right now, 191s. Honestly, I look at it in terms of like a Tilray investor, right? Like I'm not in Tilray anymore, but I invested in this a long time ago. I ended up getting out of it because I just don't trust it anymore. I don't trust that they're going to legalize. And again, people might say I'm hung up on this, and I get it, right? I'm looking at it from a tax perspective. Look at the U.S. debt, right? We could get rid of some of that debt by just legalizing and taxing it. People are using it regardless. And it's objectively less harmful than a lot of things that are legal and sold sold at gas stations. I think it's time to stop criminalizing nonsense just to give law enforcement something to chase after. And I think the criminal aspect of it makes it more dangerous. People are going to consume it anyway. So, I think people's children are eventually going to grow up and consume it. A large percentage of them are. And so do you want them going to a licensed dispensary, or do you want them going to some sketchy dude that you don't know what his background is? I know, you know what I mean? And I think you can say, oh, well, I don't want my kids using it to begin with. And that's fine. I get it. I don't want mine either. But I think that at least a certain percentage of it is inevitable. And so I think we have to look at it reasonably, and I don't think that's something that's been done a lot, at least in terms of lawmaking over the past 50 years. Oh no, popular YouTuber Too Mad. Rest in peace, man. What's up, Sam? Irregardless is not a word. That's like a huge pet peeve of mine. Irregardless. People say it because they're trying to sound smart, and it just makes them, in my head at least, go the complete other way. If you use irregardless in front of me, I'm immediately going to look at you less, UK is slowly making it illegal. I mean, I'm for that, I guess. But I think, again, what's going to ultimately happen with that, Violet, is that people are going to consume it regardless of its legalization status, right? In that regard as well, that's going to lead to bad markets for it, for lack of a better word. Bro, they're going to put a lot of chemicals in it. I guess the obvious response to that, Shay, would be they already are. They already are. Like, look at all these Delta variants out right now. You don't think you don't think there's a bunch of crap in that stuff, dude? Like, I'd rather go licensed, dispensed, if I was going to consume it, that's what I would rather go to. Now, again, I'm not really one that does. Like, Coinbase breaking highs right now. I'm going to go back to a different subject. Coinbase breaking highs. It's at 191.30s. Yeah, I smoked cigarettes from when I was 15 to when I was 30-something. The way I quit was partly from cannabis, right? Like, I didn't use actual cannabis. I used CBD to quit. What I did was I went from smoking cigarettes to vaping nicotine, and then I went from vaping nicotine to vaping CBD. I swapped them out. I said, no more nicotine vaping, I'm going to vape CBD, and then I went from vaping CBD to vaping that juice that has nothing in it, and then I went from that to nothing, and I quit, and I didn't have any urges. I haven't gone back. It's been years. But I smoked for 15 years, very nasty habit, very nasty habit. I saw this morning with the revised numbers, the UK officially entered a recession as of the end of 2023. That's crazy. Yeah, I smoked cigarettes for 15 years of my life, I've still got pretty good lungs, though. Like, my lungs are still pretty healthy. I think my dad's side of my family is very healthy. Like, they live a very long time. My mom's side, I love my mom, but I don't know how healthy her side was. But that's okay. Hopefully, I look a lot like my dad, and so hopefully I get my dad's good genes. Look, here's my dad. I look just like my dad too. Yeah. So look, here's my dad. My dad must have been about 40. I don't know how old he was in this picture. But there's my dad. He must have been about 40. I don't know how old he was. That's little me with the rabbit and the hawk. My dad's a falconer, so he hunts with falcons. You know, he doesn't hunt for his own benefit. Like, we don't eat the rabbits. The hawk eats the rabbits. So it's the natural circle of life. Like, you know, my dad's just kind of helping the bird, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah, there's my dad. People say I look a lot like him. I think I guess I do now. Tesla at 191s, though. Look at Tesla rip up. I'm in Tesla right now. Yeah, for sure, Shay. That's what they say. All of me, my uncles, and my dad all look exactly alike. Like, we all look exactly alike. Somehow, like, they all have brown eyes. I have light green eyes, which is the only, I guess, from my mom. My mom's blue-eyed. My mom's blonde hair, blue-eyed. My dad, brown hair, brown eyes, you know. And so I guess I got that from my mom. But aside from that, I look a lot like my dad. Anyways, Tesla at 191.30s, trying to rip up. Yeah, my son definitely looks like his mom, for sure. Supermicro Semiconductor, is it really at 920s? No. Wow, dude. Supermicro Semiconductor at 925s basically this morning. Look at this. What craziness, man. This is one of the craziest moving percentage stocks I've ever seen. Not a small cap, not a tiny company. This thing has had one of the craziest runs for stocks, mirroring Nvidia in microchips. What a crazy run for Supermicro. What a crazy run. Hey, John, you think Bitcoin will hit 60K this week? I don't know. It's hard to tell. I hope so. And I hope so, and so I think it can, but that just might be confirmation bias. I don't know. I hope so. I hope so. Again, Supermicro at 920s. How crazy. Tesla all the way up at 191. I'm going to put a third chart up. I feel like I need a third one here. So we can put the SPY. We can put gold up. We can put all these other things. Remember, tomorrow we have PPI dropping. So tomorrow we have the PPI report, which is the producer price index. It's the other side of the inflation data report. You know, we had CPI on Monday. Or no, I'm sorry. We had CPI on Tuesday. CPI dropped on Tuesday. And, yeah. Today we have retail sales, jobless claims. Friday we have PPI. So a lot of stuff coming out. Tomorrow's going to be a much bigger day than today, but still pretty big. How much does Supermicro increase so much, but not AMD? I'm assuming float related. Supermicro Semiconductors has a float of, what's the float size? 47, less than 50 million in the float for Supermicro Semiconductors. Just a parallel GameStop. GameStop, when it had the crazy squeeze to 500 plus, it had a 50 million or so float, just like Supermicro Semiconductors, right? So a float, just to give you guys some understanding here on like why some stocks have like a crazy monstrous range and other stocks don't. It all has to do with how many shares. The easiest way to remember this is how many shares are floating around out there, right? You have outstanding shares, which are all the shares that are out there, including like executive and ownership shares. That's the outstanding shares. That's all the shares. The float is how many shares are floating out there available to the public, right? So these are how many shares that are available to investors is the float, right? The float, if it's small, right, meaning less shares are out there, each individual trade is going to be much more significant since there's less shares, right? So if I buy 10,000 shares of a stock that has a very small float of like 1 million, that 10,000 share position is going to move that stock some, at least a little bit most likely, because it's got such a small float. And percentage wise, that type of position is a big percentage of that stock's float, right? Now, opposed to Apple, which has billions of shares in the float, I could buy 10,000 shares of Apple and nobody's going to look at it. Nobody's going to care about it. It's not going to move Apple much at all because there's so much more shares out there. It's just less. It's a drop in the bucket, so to speak, right? And so with companies like Supermicro Semiconductors, that's breaking highs right now, up to almost $1,000. You can look at the chart with an intraday chart. You can look at a daily chart. This thing was at $85 at the beginning of the year. $85. That is a crazy, crazy year. This beats Nvidia. This is up over 1,000% right now. This is up over 10x right now. So maybe not 1,000. This thing's up like 900 and something percent. But what a crazy, crazy gain here. It's up 10x basically, over 10x. So it's up like 900 and something percent, almost 1,000%. It just broke highs again as well. Oh, I'm sorry. It's up over 1,000%. It's up to 920s right now. I forgot about that. It's up to 926. Just broke highs again. Again, this is a tiny float microchip stock. That's why it's crazy right now. ARM on the other side of this though, looking at ARM, ARM, it's starting to break down. We're in ARM right now. We've been in it. We haven't sold yet. Our average price is from IPO day at 63.50s. Tesla also up a lot today. I don't know whether to take profit or what with Tesla. The only thing is if I take profit here on Tesla, I'm losing money. For sure, I'm losing money. Can y'all hear the music? Am I screaming? I'm sorry. I think the mic's a little bit too close to my face today is what it is. I usually talk this loud, but I think the mic is a little bit too close. Let me know if that's better. If that's better, you know, sorry guys. Get your earplugs out, okay? Not gonna lie, you're screaming at us today, bro. Okay, so y'all can hear the music. All right, my apologies. Look, I separated the mic from my mouth a little bit. I'm not really yelling like that. I always talk like this, but the mic was too close to my face. So there you go. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Supermicro has a tiny float and it's up to 920s and it's too high for me to want to buy this. It's just too extended on the upside. Like it's way too high on the upside for me to want to buy this here. Again, it's up 10x on the year. It's up 1,000%. That's way too high. Way too high. The other thing with Tesla, if I take profit here on Tesla, then I'm actually going to be losing on this last trade, right? If you want to see this trade. So I'm holding 35 shares of Tesla at 189s, basically 189s. And you might think, well, hey, 189s is lower than we're at now. The reason for that is because the last time we spiked up to 190s, I took some of the position off. I took some of the position off in the red. Like I didn't take profit. I lost a little bit of money. But Tesla at the time had been lower than my entry price for a while. And I just thought it was smart to preserve my low risk in this situation, limit my share size, get out roughly break even at right around where I entered it. And when I did that, it skewed my averages to look like I'm actually green on this trade, which I'm not, right? Just full transparency. My real entry price, my real average prior to taking those shares off was like 190s. And so if I get out here, I will be losing money on the trade, which I don't really want to do. And it's only 35 shares. And so it's not the largest position here. And so I still think I'm okay and I have time. But yeah, I mean, we're at almost 189s average. It's at 190s. I think I'm just going to let it ride. And it's 35 shares. It's not a monstrous position or anything like that. And so I'll just kind of hang out, I think, with it. Let me know what you guys think I should do with Tesla there. With that said, I know a lot of people hate Tesla, so a lot of people are going to be mad or tell me to sell or tell me it's going to fail, but all good. What's up, Smart? Wondering who is buying Supermicro at that high price. You got to understand, it's kind of like the example, it's kind of like picking up money in front of a train track, Harry, right? So like with Supermicro Semiconductors, it's like picking up money in front of a train track. Or picking up pennies in front of a train track. You're going to have a lot of people that are like, yo, I'll take that risk. They're going to run out, grab their couple bucks, get out, run out, grab their couple dollars, get out. Eventually, the train's going to hit somebody, and it's going to start dropping down, and it's going to dump in price, most likely, right? It's almost certainly not going to hold these gains. But where it gets to before it starts to pull back is the arguable thing. If you think it can get to 1100 before it starts pulling back, you know, some people are going to be entering this. And so just because of how crazy the momentum is and because it hasn't stopped yet, you're always going to have FOMO buyers that want to rush into this even when they maybe shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, this thing has gone crazy over the last couple months. And so you're always going to have some traders that are willing to take that risk. And it's okay. Listen, they're not necessarily wrong. If they can get in and get out fast enough to profit on the crazy rise like this, I mean, they can get a pretty big percentage gain very quickly. The question is, how does it respond when it starts to fall is the real question. And I don't know. I don't know what it does when it starts to dip. I don't know if it's investors. Let me look at the PE ratio. Now, it's a low float, so PE is a little bit less relevant, but it's still somewhat relevant. Let me take a look at the PE and try to calculate that myself now. All right, so super micro here. All right, so it's a profitable company though. I mean, it's not a losing company. All right, last EPS was 218, 146, 126. 152. All right, so that's the last yearly EPS, about 642. It's going to have a bad PE ratio, over 100. You can see it's over 100. It's going to be almost 200, it looks like. 920 divided by 642. No, it's going to be 143 PE ratio. So yeah, the PE ratio for Supermicro is not good. It's not good, but we already knew this. It's a very low float stock that's ripped up a huge percentage. You know, a lot of people for PE use Ford PE, and they look at Ford PE and Ford EPS, and so, you know, we'll see. You know, what's weird though is that the PE ratio on Bazinga is only 28, which is very wrong, very wrong. Bazinga is a great platform though. It's a great source, great platform. Thoughts on buy a Riot right now? I mean, buying Riot's kind of like a bet on Bitcoin right now. No, it's just basically betting on Bitcoin, betting on crypto. You know what I mean? So that's what I would label it. Like, it's just betting on Bitcoin, betting on crypto. So if you think Bitcoin's going to keep rising, you could buy Riot and probably be okay. If you think Bitcoin's going to correct some, then there's risks, of course, but who knows? Yeah, but Nvidia has some competitive advantage over the others. Does Supermicro have that as well? I don't know enough about Supermicro to say yes or no. I know Nvidia is a much larger cap, has a much larger float, and is much more blue chip-esque versus Supermicro, which has a small float. You know, Nvidia is one of the largest market cap companies in the world. The market cap specifically for Nvidia is almost $2 trillion. Right, almost 2 trillion market cap for Nvidia. If we look at Supermicro here, it's got a market cap of 50 billion. So Supermicro is just a much smaller company than Nvidia is. Nvidia is a behemoth of a company. Supermicro is pretty small, like less than 50 million in the market cap. You know, float is small as well at about 40 to 50 million. Nvidia has billions of shares in the float compared to 50 million for Supermicro, roughly. Like, Nvidia has almost 2.5 billion shares in the float, right? So it's just a much larger company ultimately. Supermicro left without me. If we have an 8 to 10% correction, Snow would be an option. Yeah, I'm not in a buying phase for anything right now. Like, again, I think I told people before, I have slowed down on my buying. I've taken a lot of profit on my trades, and I don't trust anything enough to really get into big size with any blue chips right now. Any blue chips. I think everything's up a little bit too much for me, and I think that I am having a great year already. I've taken profit. We're very green on the year. And for me personally, I would just rather wait for at least a small correction before I start buying anything up right now. You know, if we look at the SPY's at basically $500. If we look at the Q is at 434s. If we look at the NASDAQ here, NASDAQ is at freaking 17.9 thousand. The E-mini is at 5,023. Supermicro has 5,000 employees. Yeah, we're going to be streaming coin earnings for sure. Yeah, I'm not saying Supermicro is a small company. I mean, listen, it's got 50 million in the float. You know, it's got, you know, again, Supermicro is a $50 billion company. Like, I'm not saying, it's obviously not small. You know, it's obviously not small. If you're an investor, you know Supermicro Semiconductors right now. At least a trader, you know Supermicro, most likely, right? It's a $50 billion company. But compared to NVIDIA, Apple, Amazon, Google, you know, it's small. You know, it's small in comparison. But outside of that, you know, it's all relative. You know what I mean? All right, guys. What a market this is, are you capitalizing? Dude, okay. Yeah, you know how I always tell people, like, look, you're going to have a lot of bears that just tell everybody the market's universally always about to crash. And that kind of blinds retail into always thinking the market's about to crash, right? That kind of blinds retail into thinking the market's always about to crash. Oh no, bad news, man, for me. Oh, man. Man. Ugh. Bad news for me. My son's not feeling hot today, and he's running a fever, unfortunately. Man, that's terrible. Ugh. If it's the C word, I've already got it, and we've already, you know, if it's the F word, it's a different thing. Man, that's terrible news. Ugh. That's probably why he's been up since 2:30. Yeah. Man, dude, my family just got better from... Ugh. It's terrible news. Anyways. Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Anyways, yeah, jobless claims drop in about an hour, guys. About 1 hour. We'll see what they do. We'll see what they show up as. Crap, dude. It's always like a parent's worst nightmare. Yeah, vitamin C. All right, so we asked people, does the jobless claims report help or hurt the market? We got most people voting 57% for help. Some people voting for hurt. Let's do another poll somewhere else. Yeah, we got retail sales. Well, that's the same question on Twitter. Yeah. Alright, guys. Riot up to 1820s, 1820s. ARM at 128.90s. Trying to move back up a little bit. Coinbase still at almost 173s. Luckily, we got a bunch of tests here, so... Again, y'all hit that live button. Hit the notification bell. Alright, guys. Tesla at 190.60s, 190.60s. E-mini at 50.20s. I'm one of the top 3 best typers in the world right now. Y'all didn't know? Warren Buffett fought a 13F, and some people were surprised. They didn't enter any new positions in the fourth quarter. Not that they revealed. They did make some changes. Burke sold a little bit of its Apple shares by 10 million. They're having a cautious outlook despite the stock's appreciation dividends. Berkshire held 905.56 million Apple shares at the end of the quarter. That's crazy big. They stand to receive 217 million in divvy payment income. Shake Shack. Didn't Shake Shack have earnings today? I thought they did, right? Yeah, they're gapping up a lot on earnings. Shake Shack. It's up to 86. I mean, it says short sellers have the biggest egos. I think they're just the most stubborn, you know? And I think it depends on what they're shorting, but a lot of it's Dunning-Kruger for sure. Hindenburg just dropped a new report. I think it's about a penny stock this time. TMSNY. It's an OTC stock. Alright guys, Tesla at 190 plus. Coinbase at 173s. Nvidia at 1.8 trillion 2024 valuation. Intel only at 185 billion. In 2004, Intel was valued at 200 billion. And Nvidia was only valued at 4 billion. Look how crazy Nvidia has gone since then. Sven Henrich says, how much longer will the Fed pretend it's running a restrictive monetary policy? Bro, we can't argue that the Fed wasn't restrictive or hawkish over the last 2 years. Of course they were. They raised rates incredibly aggressively. If we look at their rate hike decisions, here's the effective federal funds rate graph. All right, let me see if it'll let me look at recent. Let me look at the yearly. Yeah. So again, let's see if we go back. Okay, so here is the rate hikes starting in 2022. All right, so here's the rate hikes from 2022 until today. All right, so again, I would call this incredibly restrictive. Incredibly restrictive. We raised rates by 50 basis points, 50 basis points, 25 basis points, 50 basis points, 50 basis points, 25, 25, 25, 25. And then I think we started to pause here after raising rates, pausing, raising, pausing. And so, I mean, I would call this graph incredibly restrictive. You know, we're not restrictive anymore. Not as restrictive. We're pausing. We're neutral now, technically. But I would consider this incredibly restrictive. You know, very hawkish, of course. Right? It's not like this is dovish right here. You know, raising rates aggressively. And again, to put this into perspective, just so you guys can understand economics. If inflation is really bad, like in 2021, we had quantitative easing, we had money printing, we had stimulus checks, basically. That raised the prices of everything. You know, Bernard Arnault, the owner of Louis Vuitton and a bunch of other luxury brands, is one of the richest men in the world. And he's much more rich now versus pre-2020 because after stimulus checks and quantitative easing, QE is what it's abbreviated to, the prices of luxury goods and prices of everything ultimately went up and inflation was out of control, right? One of the Fed's tools to combat that inflation is raising the federal funds rate. By raising the federal funds rate, it makes banking more expensive, and banks, in consequence, raise interest rates to consumers. And then eventually when interest rates are raised to consumers, consumers stop spending as much, and thus businesses lower prices, lowering inflation, right? That's the cycle of the Fed and their tools and rate hikes and all that stuff, right? That's what the Fed does, is they raise rates aggressively in that regard. When inflation is bad, in a restrictive stance, like taking restrictive stance, which is raising rates, essentially a restrictive monetary policy, i.e. rate hikes, and they have a dovish stance which is rate cuts, right? Lowering the federal funds rate, it makes banking less expensive, it lowers interest rates to consumers, and thus consumers buy more, and you know, sometimes inflation can get worse. That's kind of the cycle of it. That's what the Fed's doing economic wise. And so yeah, I don't know. I think people are looking at Supermicro semiconductors like it's a gauge on the whole market, and it is a gauge on semiconductors. And Nvidia is one of the largest cap stocks in the world right now, but at the same time, it's still, like, we can't argue that we're not restrictive. Restrictive policies have a lagging effect as well. They're not going to kick in immediately. Like, a rate hike is not going to affect the economy immediately. except for psychological reasons, like except for people like the sentiment people have in their head about what the economy and market is going to do. But outside of that, it's not going to make banking more expensive for at least a year. Or it's not going to affect it's not going to affect the economy, I'll say, in a year. It'll affect banks sooner, but still. The point is, there's a lagging effect. It takes at least a year to really start to see some big effect on markets and prices. And so with that, you know, I don't know. I think it's possible that some of the rate hikes that we got into, you know, when was the last time we raised rates? You know, again, with that last thing in mind, last time we were really raising rates was back in August. Okay, in August. So a year from then is going to be August of this year, right? So I guess the point is, like, the next couple months, here's February, we raise rates. March, we really raise rates. Let's see what March looks like. You know, like, we have yet to feel the effect of these economic-wise. Why? What do you mean, the Kruger effect? I'm talking about the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is that people that know the least tend to think they know the most because they have the less amount of experience in the specific thing, and so they make a lot of assumptions about how easy it is and tend to be wrong a lot. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. What I'm referencing with shorts is that sometimes you'll get traders and investors that are long-term shorting the market. They're shorting things long-term. And that's one of the worst edge trading strategies and investing strategies you could ever have, is shorting things long-term. Short-term is completely different. I short things short-term almost every day. But shorting things long-term, especially broad markets and index funds, is a terrible decision. Because the market's big edge is that it's going to go up long term. It might crash, dip, fail in between. But predicting when it's going to do that is incredibly difficult. And shorting index funds, broad market index funds, and the market in general long term is a terrible idea. Right? You're trading against the biggest edge the market ever has. And I think a lot of people watch movies like The Big Short. They romanticize shorting and they think that it'll show everybody how smart they are, but they don't really understand markets and edge. And so they end up just kind of shorting things long term, listening to all the people telling retail that the market's in a never ending state of about to crash, and end up losing tons of money. And then they're usually the most critical on bulls. They're usually the ones shaming other people, making fun of other people, calling other traders names. That's a dynamic that I see here very often. And I'm not against you short traders. I'm not even talking about you if you're planning on shorting things over like a couple months or whatever. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that short the market long term. And so, yeah. What's up, David? Freddy Krueger. Did the UK ever leave a recession? I don't know. I don't watch the UK. Hey, bud. Greetings from Switzerland. Love your streams. Keep doing what you do. Great to keep you on while I work reports. Also, Bones Jones not accepting the fight at 300 is weird. Listen, bro. Bones does not want to fight anybody but old, aged Stipe. Alright, Jones doesn't want to fight anybody but old Stipe. Alright, he certainly does not want to fight Aspinall. He does not want that Aspinall smoke at all. He does not want to fight Aspinall. Aspinall looks like a killer out there. If I was Jones, I wouldn't want to fight him either. Jones is old. I'm not even mad at Jones. He's obviously the MMA GOAT. He's never lost, really, except for a disqualification. And he's obviously the MMA GOAT. The greatest MMA fighter, I think, of all time. I think that's a very obvious thing. Now, there might be some asterisks there with, like, steroids and juicing and failed tests and, Honestly, if you go by his record, he's obviously the GOAT. I thought Jones specifically personally lost the first Alexander Gustafsson fight. I thought he obviously lost that one. I thought that was one of the worst ones where he lost 3 out of 5 rounds. Very clearly lost 3 out of 5 rounds. I don't know how they gave it to him, but they did. I thought it was arguable that he lost the Thiago Santos fight as well as the Dominic Reyes fight. I thought he lost all 3 of those, personally. But the judges gave it to him, and it's all good. But yeah, again, Jones does not want to fight Tom Aspinall. Like, that's just an obvious thing. Gold breaking up. Is gold moving up? Shake Shack had earnings. It's up some. Gold up to 2010s. 2010s. Yeah, Miocic for sure. I mean, he wants to fight Miocic. I've lost money through opportunity costs several times due to fear of pending market crashes. And it's really hard. Yeah, so Blaze says that. It's very hard not to do that. Again, if you look at all these, like, listen, man. Again, here's an experiment. All right. Go back. There's a couple really big YouTubers, like some with over 1 million subscribers, that literally every single major economic report, they are telling you the market is about to crash. Right? They are telling you the market's about to crash, right? And if you go back and you look at a daily chart, looking at the time in which all these economic reports come out, you will see they have been wrong a large majority of the time. Yet they get more clicks when they tell everybody the market's in some parabolic state of about to crash. And so they end up just telling everybody the market's going to crash every economic report. The market doesn't crash, and then they dilute it with videos about other stuff. And then the next economic report comes out, and they tell everybody else the market's about to crash, and they post like a thumbnail. They do it over and over again. The market still hasn't crashed. In fact, they said the market was going to crash a year ago. Markets had one of the greatest years in a long time. Will they admit they're wrong is the question. I don't think they will. I think they're going to keep acting like they're going to isolate. What they're going to do is, and again, this is how they get out of being wrong, is that they're going to isolate. They're going to isolate a couple months of red and say, see, this was a market crash. This was nowhere near a market crash, guys. Nowhere near it. They're going to isolate small little slivers of red like this and try to act like it's a market crash. And what this does is this teaches naive, inexperienced retail traders that everything's a crash, that crash is always about to happen, that we're in some constant state of market crash worries. And it's just unfortunate. You see it too much. You see it too much. Again, you guys know a year and a half ago who was telling you the market didn't have to crash, and that the biggest edge is up long term. Anyways, SPY all the way over 500 now at almost $510 a share. Super Micro breaking highs again at 933s here, team. 933s. Tesla at 191 almost 191. Again, I'm in Tesla. I don't want to take profit yet. What's up with A&F? I don't know what Abercrombie & Fitch is doing, in all honesty. That is one of the craziest gains. I don't even know if there is. Where's an Abercrombie & Fitch store? Like, I don't even know if they have stores anymore. All I know is I used to go into Abercrombie & Fitch. This was like when I was in the early 2000s. This was like the store. You wore this clothes. It was all to get girls, right? Like, you wore Abercrombie because the girls liked the guys at Abercrombie. The OC had just came out, the show The OC. All the girls wanted, you know, like some preppy guy. I remember again, it's all biology, you know. If girls like pink bunny suits, bro, I'm rocking a pink bunny suit. I didn't care. You know. And so, but yeah, Abercrombie & Fitch, you'd walk in there, it'd smell like cologne. Be some really old school techno, you know. Going in the store. It's just a moment in time. A moment in time. Tesla almost up to 191s. Short shows are like horror movies. Some people love to live in fear by watching movies because it's exciting. Yeah, for sure. And I think it's confirmation bias. I think if you miss out on a big move, a big year in markets, it's a pleasant thought to think that the market might correct and you avoided some big drop. But I think even with those drops included, you're still missing out most of the time. I learned how to play guitar. But I was already with Carol when I learned how to play guitar. Tesla's still trying to bounce up. It's at 191s. Save soon. Yeah, where's the NASDAQ? Does it have a wedge? SPY up, Tesla moving up a little bit. We have Nvidia going crazy. Super micro semiconductors breaking highs again, almost up to 940s. Crazy gains. Nvidia's not really up that much today, but super micro just churning up. Crazy movement. Biggest mistake is to listen to a YouTuber and a TikTok financial analyst. Honestly, it depends, right? TikTokers are the worst, bro. Like, you got the dumbest people in the world investing wise on some of those. Just like, you'll hear the worst advice ever. They'll be like, yeah, bro, if you could just make 5% every day, in the end, you're going to have this. Within a few years, you could be a millionaire. It's like, of course you would. Anybody can make 5% a day? A day? Like, you make 20% on the year, you're doing great. You got 4 days of 5%, you got 20%. Like, if anybody had that strategy and system, it would be worth billions of dollars. Just the dumbest financial advice ever to people who have no idea what they're talking about. And they're just telling investors and traders that really don't know what they're talking about. All this stuff, getting them hyped up. It's kind of like if you've ever been sold a pyramid scheme, right? If you've ever been sold a pyramid scheme, they're like, yeah, if you just do this 500 times in a month, you're going to be in the top 1% and you're going to be earning something small like 10K a month. Like 500 sales in a month. You're trying to tell me I got to make 500 sales in a month just to make 10K? But again, like they make very, very difficult things seem easy, so you're easier to sell, right? And I'm here to tell you, if you can make 5% a day, if I could make 5% a day, you would never see me again. You would never see me again. It's S-H-A-K, shake, or shack. Chronic bearishness is just the dark side of FOMO, 100%, yeah. If it's chronic, if you're bearish all the time, it depends on what you're bearish on. Like, I'm okay if you find isolated companies like the Hindenburg short report, find companies that are sketchy and look bad, do reports on them and research them and find weird inconsistencies and then attack those on the short side. I'm for that. Like, do whatever you want there. That's fine for me. That's perfectly reasonable. Probably got some edge doing it. But if we're talking about like a long-term short on the S&P 500, like, people have been watching The Big Short too much and wanting to be Steve Carell in The Big Short. They want to be the genius skeptic prodigy that, everybody doubted but was right. There's so many people that want to be that now. Unfortunately, even Burry has been wildly inconsistent with his predictions and has just been wrong. More than he's right, to be honest. More than he's right. How many likes do we have? I'm sure it's probably over that amount. Let me see. Yeah, we're at 84 likes, so we got more than that. But hey, I appreciate it. Hit the like button, guys. Do it now. Yeah, the trend is your friend until it's not. As long as you can cut the trend, or cut the trade and get out. Trading with the trend's typically the right move. I almost never counter trade. If something's up big, I almost never short it. Sometimes I'll get caught in a dumb trade where I do that. looking for a reversal. But most of the time, a better move is looking for a trend confirmation, like looking for a big upward move and then buying this dip, betting on a stair step like continuation like that. That's usually like a much better trading style than trying to like short something that's up too big, or vice versa, buy something that's down too big. It depends though how I trade. Like some of my best swing trades are actually trades in which I look for at the same time though, and to be honest, no. So what I usually do there is I look for stocks that are beat down but that are still in an upward long-term trend. Like if I put up a weekly chart, they're still going to be up. I don't want to buy stocks that are just beaten to the ground. I want to buy stocks that have pulled back for months, but when you zoom out longer, they're still on longer term trends on the upside. Those are usually what I target with swing trades, and that works really well. But and again, I'm not saying you can't find tops, Jared. I'm sure there's traders out there that can do that much better than I can. But yeah, intraday's different too, for sure. Do you think in the next CPI something similar to Tuesday will happen? I mean, something will happen. We don't know what. CPI is a pretty big report that drops monthly. The next one's going to be early March, and who knows what we're going to get from it. Tesla at 191s here, team 191s. Hey, nice, Joshua. Yeah, the market's flying up. Yeah, IV, it looks like you're really late on the stream. I appreciate it, though. Hit the live button. You'll catch back up, brother. Here, hold on, guys. Hold on. All right, we're back. Sorry, guys. I had to check on my son, man. My son is just not feeling good at all, man. Ugh, dude. It's the worst feeling ever, man. Whew. All right, guys. Very small Pfizer. Okay, guys, listen. Okay. Yeah, listen, if you come to my stream and you start promoting other competing live streams, I'm just gonna ban you. Just giving you guys a heads up. Not a smart move, you know what I mean? Nah, my wife's with him right now. It's alright. We'll probably close the stream early, though. Where do you get these numbers from? A bunch of different places. Market Watch, TOS, Benzinga. Tesla up a lot today. I'm in Tesla right now. I don't know whether to take profit, though. Like, I'm in it. I don't know whether I should take profit or not. Yeah, I mean, you can recommend good free sources. Again, though, like, if you're, like, plug in another competitor, obviously know their competitor. You know, because, again, it's hard to tell whether people, like, a lot of the time what you'll see, and I don't think that was this person, but a lot of the time what you see is you see people from Discords. Like, a lot of these guys have their own Discord, and these are people that either work for them or with them, and they go to different live streams and they try to mimic what looks like organic comments so that they can subtly promote their own stuff, right? That happens a lot. Hey, what's up, Mr. Rich? Yeah, I'm long. I just don't know what I want to do here with it. Yeah, 100% P. Here, hold on. All right. Silver is the guy right now. Tesla usually starts dumping 50 minutes prior to the open, starts recovering. Sorry, yeah, my wife and I are talking about. Son's sick right now, unfortunately, so we're kind of trying to manage that in the background here. Yeah, thank you, Pawn. Yeah, some guy just showing up that we've never seen before, trying to be critical. Like, get out of here, bro. Find something else to do. I didn't ban old boy, but it's like, listen, the way you grow on YouTube, again, is not, and again, what the place they were promoting is actually like a pretty big channel, and so I don't think it's that channel specifically, right? But if you're trying to grow a smaller channel, the way you grow is not by going to somebody else's stream and like plugging your content in somebody else's stream. Like, it's gonna burn bridges with whomever you show up in, and it's just gonna make them kick you out, ban you. You know, they're gonna see it as spam. What's your prediction for unemployment claims? I don't know if I want to make a prediction, bro. I got the last one exactly right a week ago, so we'll see what this one shows up as. But still, gold sell. I don't know. Gold is still over 2,000, but it's right around 2K now. So it was almost up at 20. Let me see where gold was. Gold hit 2150s earlier. Earlier in December. But it's right at that $2,000 level right now. So the question is, does gold hold? And I'm not sure. It's right around a big psychological level. Hey, what's up, trading? Yeah, it's too hard to vet, is what it is, you know. Hey, thank you. What's up, Biggie? What do you think about the AI hype with stocks such as ARM? I'm in ARM, and so I hope ARM continues rising. I really do. I hope ARM continues rising. The problem is that I think a lot of these are extended, like heavy on the upside. I think a lot of these are just up a little bit too much, maybe. A little bit too much. They're just up a lot. You know, they're up a lot. Hey, nice, Gavin. Congrats, man. I don't know if you got your funded account in less than an hour. Minimum is 2 days, I think. But whatever you're talking about, congrats, bro. Good job. Where's silver at? I don't really trade silver that much. Silver is SI, I want to say. 2270s. DWAC. I don't trust DWAC. DWAC is up too much, and I don't really think. Like, I think it's gonna be too difficult for a lot of those to succeed. Yeah, all good, Gavin. All good, brother. Yeah, silver up less than gold. I like gold long term though. Gold is one of the best inflation hedges. You got to remember, like, this is how people hedge against inflation long term. Right? The way you hedge against inflation is you invest it into things. You can invest it into bonds, you know, treasury bonds. You can invest it into CDs. You could invest it into gold, silver, real estate, S&P 500, NASDAQ, stuff like that. And that's going to hedge it against losses to inflation over time, right? And gold long term is a very good inflation hedge. It's gone up 7x over the last 20 years, although it's been kind of flat for the last 5 to 10 years. And so, you know, it's a very volatile market right now, very volatile market. But gold is up a lot, but long term, if you need to hold something very long term, like 20 plus years, gold's one of the best things, right? Like, so if you're investing for your kids, you know, or investing for retirement and you're young, gold, silver, precious metals might be a good option. But short term, they can be volatile. Coinbase finally pulling back. They actually have earnings today as well. So Coinbase actually has earnings also. Yeah, I mean, Caesar, I haven't heard anybody say that here. Every time I've been funded with them, it takes a couple days for them to fund your, like, to give you your credentials for it and everything. You'd be crazy to short Bitcoin. Yeah, they got that dude Gareth Soloway, I think is his name. He's shorting Bitcoin at 35K. He must be down crazy big. All right, guys, we still got 20 something minutes left. All right, guys. Hey, Super Micro Semiconductor, one of the craziest stocks in the market right now. One of the craziest movements. Ripping up huge amounts right now. Honestly, it's kind of a scary move. We still got 20-something minutes left until this data drops. We got over 600 people here. Looking at our poll numbers, 56% of people think they're going to help. 44% of people think they're going to hurt. All right, guys. Tesla at 190s, coin at 170s. Is it too late to buy Super Micro Semiconductors? I don't know. I explained it earlier. The problem with this, it's kind of like picking up money in front of a train, right? Like, you might be able to get away with it buying Super Micro right now and make money. And I think that's why Super Micro has made such big parabolic movement over the last, like, little bit, is because so many people greed is so profound right now, and It's kind of like picking up pennies in front of a train track. Like, you might get away with it a couple times. Eventually, you're going to get hit. And so eventually, Supermicro is going to come back down and correct a little bit. Who knows when that's going to be? And maybe you'll make enough now to where it'll still be justified if it does. But I don't know. For me personally, it's too high up. It's too high up right now. This thing's up over 1,000%. It's up over 10x on the year in the last 52 weeks. That's a crazy big move. I'm skeptical of buying it up right here. But again, maybe it continues ripping. It's really hard to tell. Nobody knows. It's $1,000 a year. Do you think a good disciplined trader can make 200% a year day trading, risking 1% of their portfolio per trade, and obviously increasing share size as it grows? So, AD, that's kind of a loaded question. The first thing is that it's possible for a trader to make 200% a year day trading. Sure, certainly possible. Risking 1% of their portfolio per trade, I would assume you're going to have at least a 1-to-1 reward to risk ratio, right? I don't think it's possible to consistently make 1% a day. I think that you might be able to make 1% a day sometimes, and I think maybe on average you might be able to make 1% a day. But I think that the problem is trying to make 1% a day is going to be virtually impossible. And again, if it was super possible I think most people are not going to be able to do that. And most people are not going to be able to do that in a very simple way, because if they did, you would see much more broker statements showing 200% gains in a year day trading. You would see many more broker statements showing, 1, 2, 3% gains per day on average regularly. You know why you don't? Is because it's not that common. It's just not that common. More people sell courses on how to do it than make money from actually doing it. And again, I'd rather be honest instead of try to sell a mentorship program or a service. Some traders actually can, and there are some really good day traders, but it's certainly not the majority of them. And you have to have reasonable expectations for it, I think. But yeah, it's possible, but still. Yeah, we get numbers in 20 minutes. Data's at 8:30. It might be in the title. It also might be right below me here. Might be in the title. Might be right below me. 20 minutes. Let me know what you guys think the numbers are going to show up as. Again, we have a couple minutes before this report. We still got 20 minutes or so, basically, until this report. This timer is a little bit early, but you also can see the timer in the top left. SPY trying to hold. Look at the 200 EMA VWAP level. This is why I watch it a lot, is because it can be a really big bounce level. And again, I do think if you're going to day trade, you might as well day trade a funded account program. It's one of the things I always tell people, like, everybody thinks they're going to start day trading. They're going to be some prodigy savant, make thousands of dollars a day, and show everybody how smart they are trading the market and ride off into the sunset. I think that's every trader in the beginning's dream. The reality is almost nobody is going to do that. Almost nobody is going to do that. In fact, it's actually the opposite. Most people are going to lose their first couple accounts at least. All right, probably more. Ignore what your mentor trying to sell you a course, your mentor trying to sell you a Discord, your mentor trying to sell you a service is telling you. Because again, the reality is almost every day trader is going to lose money. Like, everybody knows that. There are profitable, talented day traders. Most people are not. And so it makes no sense if you're trying to day trade in the beginning to put up thousands of dollars yourself. You're probably going to lose that. There's no reason to do that. Instead, try a funded account program. In a funded account program, you can essentially get exposure to day trading with no PDT rule. There's no PDT rule in futures. You can day trade short, buy market, sell market, all that good stuff. No PDT restrictions in futures. Patterns are very similar to blue chip patterns, but there's no PDT rule, and you can day trade in short. What Top Step does is they give you a demo and they test your skill. If you could pass the test, great. They fund you between 50K to 150K with a 90% split. And so once you're funded, you're keeping 90% of your profit anyway. But if you lose, you're only out $50 for the base one, $150 for the top one. It's limited risk, but a very similar reward to putting the money up yourself. A great way to learn how to trade with limited risk. Although I am biased, Top Step's a sponsor of mine. They pay me money, and so I'm biased in their favor. But if you want to check it out, here's the link. Great way to help support the channel. There's the link right there. All right, love you.
Love you. Still wearing your dress collection?
Yeah. Love you. Yeah, 1,400% just not going to happen regularly. Again, the people telling you can actually make 1% a day are usually trying to sell you a course, acting like they are. Again, if the person's telling you can make 1% a day if you buy their course, but they're not showing you their broker statements every month, not just once a month, or not just one time in 1 month. Again, what you see a lot, I see a lot of people saying, oh no, ABC showed me their broker statement one time. It's like, yeah, they showed it to you one time. What do you think that means? Do you think that means they're wildly profitable? Of course not. What that means is they probably finally had a profitable month and then they showed it to you. They showed you the 1 month they were profitable. Again, if you're selling a course or a service, what better credibility boosting thing is there than to show your broker statements every month, right? How easy would it be to sell that course? You could say, yo, look at my results. You know why you don't see a bunch of these people selling you courses, broker statements? It's because they're not actually doing it and they're making their money selling you courses. Again, I'd rather be real. I'm not even claiming to be a good day trader. Really, I'm probably a better investor, swing trader. I made money on the year last year, investing in swing trading and day trading, I think, to a certain extent. And I'm green on the year in those things as well. But, again, I'd rather be real, and that's the truth. All right, guys. Hey, we got 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Jobless claims is how many people file for unemployment month to month. Or week to week. And so this jobless claims report expectations are 220. They're expected to show up at 220. The same expectation we had last time for this was 220. So same thing here, 220. Retail sales data. We also have the Philly Fed Index. Retail sales expected at minus 0.2%. So we've got retail sales and jobless claims unemployment. So the question is, what does the market want? Does the market want more jobless claims, i.e. more people filing for unemployment, less people working? Which would mean less spending, potentially less inflation problems. I think with the inflation report that we got earlier in the week, the market's going to react positively to a higher jobless claims number. That means less people working, less people spending, potentially lower inflation numbers. Less jobless claims would signal more people working, more people spending, more inflation problems, right? I think that's the lens I want to look at this under today. But again, I really don't know for sure. You never know how the market's going to respond to all this stuff. You truly don't know how the market's going to move with it. And all we can do is sit around and guess and hope we're correct about the potential reaction to get. Retail sales also dropped today. Expectations for that are minus 0.2%. I think we have to look at that with a very similar lens as jobless claims. And that higher retail sales signals more spending, worse for inflation problems, which we saw CPI inflation come in earlier this week, higher than expected, worse than expected. And so anything that signals worse, more spending, worse inflation problems is going to cause a negative response in markets, in my opinion. But again, I don't know for sure. You can see the SPY dipping down a little bit. We'll put the Q up here. And again, we'll see what happens with Supermicro semiconductors as well. Coinbase bouncing at 171.40s, 171.40s. Thank you for your honesty. I've not lost more money because of your advice. Hey, thank you, Jocelyn. I appreciate it. We try to be honest. Look, I was there, man. I got started day trading. I watched the movie The Big Short. I came home and I Googled day trading, and I get a bunch of penny stock gurus trying to sell me a course, preaching financial freedom, and they're just all full of crap. Like, not all of them. There's some that are probably good, right? I'm not talking about all of them. What I'm saying is that it's not a majority of them. And most, like, again, I think most content out there in these courses is available for free on the internet somewhere. I don't think you need to spend thousands of dollars on some mentorship program or course, especially a course that potentially thousands of other people have already seen. I can't justify it personally, and maybe that's because I don't sell a course or service myself. I don't claim to be an expert. I don't act like a guru, and my job is to just kind of help traders. But yeah. All right, guys. Hey, we got about 12 minutes. 12 minutes. Top 3 in the world right now. Are you trading for the money? I'm certainly not living off of my trading profits whatsoever. I make much more than I'd ever do when trading running this YouTube channel. You can't really knock me for that, though. And number one, I'm providing a service, which is honesty. I'm being real with people, and I'd rather be real. We're also reporting economic reports and data, so I'm not really claiming to be some super pro trader in general. Again, like I always use the example of a mechanic. If I'm a mechanic and I start a mechanic forum, and that mechanic forum starts to get hundreds of thousands of views and users per month in the forum, eventually I'm going to make much more on that forum than I ever did as a mechanic, and you can't really get mad at me for it because, again, it's a community you've built. I think that's okay. You know, I'm certainly here to make money. I'm certainly not doing this out of the kindness of my heart. I don't want to be self-righteous. I'm just being honest. But I think everybody on YouTube's doing it for the same reason. You know, nobody's sitting here at the kindness of their heart. Everybody's doing this to make money to a certain extent, and that's okay. That's reasonable. I can't really expect anything different from people. If y'all were spending 3+ hours a day doing something like this, you're certainly doing it to make money, and that's okay. It doesn't mean I'm wrong for it either. I just think slightly more jobless claims is good. Too many bad, too few bad, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know either. I think it certainly varies and nuanced. I think that I've seen the market react positively to economic growth, i.e. lower jobless claims. I've seen the market react negatively to less economic growth, i.e. higher jobless claims numbers. So I think it depends on each individual release and the nuance behind the market in that way. You know, the context of the market, preceding the report is important. And again, I think the context of the market today preceding this report and tomorrow's report is inflation data being higher than expected. I think inflation data was noticeably higher than expected. With that, the market might fear inflation in a bigger way and in turn react negatively to economic growth, signaling more inflation, right? I think that's probably, again, that's probably the correct way to look at it today. Again, though, you never really know, and it could always shock people, surprise people. The reactions can shock people. You could potentially know exactly what this number was going to show up as, both of these numbers, and still it'd be difficult to predict what the market's going to do from it. And so I don't necessarily think taking a huge position ahead of these reports is the right move. I think you want to be patient and wait and react potentially to this report instead of trying to predict it. Coin reporting this evening. Top 3 non-pro in it for the money beginner traders in the world right now. Silver ripping up this morning. I'm not sure why. Coinbase down to 170s, but up huge on the day with Bitcoin hitting almost 53,000. Tesla, again, almost at 191s. I'm in Tesla. I don't want to take profit yet. I guess I'm just going to wait. Right, 100% Justin. Exactly, bro. Running a YouTube channel is hard. A lot of people think it's easy, too. You see a lot of people that, like, I've had a lot of people that have worked for me think it's easy to do what I'm doing now and then stop working for me and try to open up a competitive channel that's kind of like a clone of my channel, right? Like, I've seen a lot of people do that. They never end up, like, most of them, at least. I don't know any that succeeded. They realize very quickly that, like, just because you see 1,000 people watching my stream doesn't mean you're going to get 1,000 people watching yours. And this takes years to grow. It's not something that, unless you've already got like a big company or business based around it, it's very difficult to grow. Saturation in markets is real too. All right, guys. Hey. Market's about to start now. With this data report, we should have a big boost of volatility, at least We don't know how much. We got the Q up in the middle, the SPY on the right. I could put super micro semiconductors on the left. I could also put like gold up here, gold up to 2010s, almost 2011s. So we have gold on the left, the Q, the NASDAQ 100 ETF in the middle, and then the S&P 500 SPY ETF on the right is what we got up. All right, guys, we got 8 minutes left, team. 8 minutes left. We still got about 1,000 people here live. How did you start this channel? No. So, again, you might wonder why I'm so critical of gurus, right? So we started this channel. We started this channel because I went and saw the movie The Big Short. I thought day trading would be easy. I came home. I Googled it. I saw a bunch of penny stock gurus slanging courses. I never bought the courses, you know. I'm not saying you could Google and find a lot of these guys' courses for free somewhere on the internet. I would never recommend you do that, of course, but you know. But anyways, I put up $4,000 of my own money, lost it within 3 weeks, gave up day trading for like a year straight. As I was gone, I had already uploaded like 15 videos, and I wanted to create a channel that was not a guru channel. Like I wanted to create a place that wasn't a mentorship program community guru like slanging courses type of thing. I wanted to just create a free resource and community, and so that's why we created the channel. And in hindsight, that was the right move, you know. Other channels might get more or less views and make more or less money or whatever it is, but I think this is the perfect combination of I can sleep well at night, I'm not lying to people, I'm telling people the truth, and we provide a service. You know, we get thousands of people for these economic reports because we cover it quickly. Like we drop these numbers fast. I'm not going to tell you guys the sources. We have a bunch of different sources that we get these numbers from. But we drop the numbers pretty quick, usually at least. So hit that subscribe button. With that said, we're going to put it in sub only mode. So if you have not already, also shout out to everybody. We did break 125,000 subscribers yesterday, so thanks so much. I appreciate it. Again, jobless claims, I'm showing varied numbers. Retail sales expected at minus 0.2%. Core retail sales expected at 0.2%. Housing start data for Canada also drops today. We also have New York State Empire Manufacturing Index. Expectations are minus 13.7. The Philly Fed Index expected at minus 8. We just got a lot of stuff dropping today, to be honest. This is a big report. Like, we got a bunch of different stuff dropping. And again, we got about 5.5 minutes left. This timer's early. Yeah, PPI tomorrow is big. PPI tomorrow is big. Hey, thank you, MP. Yeah, we used to cover penny stocks and we were all about it. And then we realized how little the edge was there, and we started gravitating towards large blue chip stocks instead. Eventually futures and economic reports, mostly. It was a road here. Anyways, we got 4.5 minutes left. Hey, thank you, Al. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man. I don't know. It depends on what the numbers show up as, James. I don't know how the market's going to respond to this. I really don't. Give me your last minute predictions out in chat. I'm going to go with jobless claims numbers. Listen, I'm going to go with 222. No. I'm going to go to 223. 223 is going to be my predicted number. 222, 223, give or take, is what I'm going to go with for jobless claims. Retail sales expectation is minus 0.2%. I'm going to go with I'm going to go with I'm going to go with minus point. I'm going to go with 0.1%. 0.1% for retail sales. But again, I'm just guessing here. I have no idea if this is right or wrong. Do not copy me. No idea what I'm talking about. Might be wildly wrong about everything. Do not copy me. All right, guys. Hey, we got 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes. Give me your last minute predictions out. Jobless claims are how many people are filing for unemployment, Justin. So it's how many people are filing for unemployment week to week. Coinbase dipping down under the volume weighted average price. Three minutes, team. 3 minutes. Hit that live button next to the play button. You want to make sure you're fully caught up on stream. And the way you are is by making sure your live button looks like this. You want your live button to be red. You can also put it in fast forward mode, and it's going to be a little bit faster. You'll get the economic reports a little bit more live, I would say. Yeah, I'm definitely top 3 most wildly wrong people ever in the world right now. Not just on the internet, but ever in the world for sure. What's GC? GC is gold. It's gold on the left. Gold on the left. Q, NASDAQ 100 on the middle. SPY on the right. This is a little bit early, guys. We actually have about 2.5 minutes left. About 2 minutes left. So this timer's a little bit off, so we're going to put this somewhere else and wait. So we got about 2 minutes left, team. 2 minutes. Hey, thanks, Sam. It's nighttime here. Yeah, I'm in Texas. I'm in Houston. So yeah, it's morning. It's 7:30 in the morning here. All right, guys, we got about 1,300 people here live. Again, slap that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. Let's keep the growth up, team. I appreciate it. Tomorrow we'll have thousands of people here live too when the numbers drop. Yeah, we're going to trade at the opening bell. I'll trade US 30 just for you, Far. I'll trade the US 30 at the open. That's the Dow. I'll trade it. All right, guys. Hey, we got 1 minute. 1 minute left. 1 minute. It's the final countdown. All right. Let me wake up a little bit. We got this economic report coming out live. We'll see what the market does to it. All right, we'll see what the market does to it. Again, remember, what's the context of the market right now? I think the context of it is this. The market does not want economic growth. Economic growth signals inflation problems. Inflation data, CPI specifically, came out on Tuesday, and it came out worse than expected. The market dropped. It was higher than expected, signaling more inflation problems than previously expected. And so with that, the market is to be looked at, in my opinion, and I might be wildly wrong here, don't copy me. The market and the lens is supposed to be looked at, in my opinion, in a way in which it fears inflation, and that would mean higher jobless claims numbers would be good, lower jobless claims numbers would be bad, higher retail sales numbers will be bad, lower retail sales numbers would be good because the market fears inflation. Now, again, I'm not 100% sure. The market data drops at about 5 seconds, or at about 10 seconds here, team, 10 seconds. So we'll see if we get anything good here, guys. But yeah, market data is about to drop. All right, there's the data. So jobless claims came in at 212. 212, less than expected at 212. Core retail sales came in at minus 0.6, way lower than expected. The Philly Fed Index came in way more positive than expected. And regular retail sales came in at minus 0.8, way lower than expected. And so the market's reacting positively to this, and that the retail sales data came in at minus 0.8, almost minus 1% versus a minus 0.2% expected. Philly Fed came in way more positive than expected. And so on its mixed results, retail sales way lower than expected. Philly Fed data way higher than expected. Jobless claims way lower than expected. Core retail sales way lower than expected. So retail sales came in way lower than expected. I guess that's what's making the market move up like this, because lower retail sales numbers signals less spending and potentially less inflation problems. Retail sales drops once a month, right? So it's much more impactful of a report than jobless claims, which drops every single week. But yeah, so again, so far, retail sales data came in much lower than expected. We'll put all of this up on screen, and we might actually start day trading some of this stuff. So let me put this up on screen. Again, minus 0.8% for retail sales. Jobless claims came in at 212. 212. All right, so there's retail sales up on the screen. We'll put jobless claims numbers up as well. Jobless claims came in at 212 versus 220 expected. So here is the report. Philly Fed Index is the other one. The Philly Fed Index came in at a positive number, didn't it? Yeah, so Philly Fed Index came in at 5.2 versus minus 8. So again, Philly Fed was worse for inflation, better for economic growth. Jobless claims was worse for inflation, better for economic growth. But retail sales, which is probably the biggest report today, came in much lower than expected. And so the market is up. Although the market's kind of flat right now. There's the numbers on the bottom of the screen. Yeah, so far market's kind of flat right now. I don't know what to do with this. We'll probably start day trading this. Before we do, though, let's put up like the NASDAQ 100 in futures or something. Let me see. So here's the Q in futures, which again is essentially the NASDAQ 100 futures contract. So this is the Q in futures. And again, the benefit of futures is that there's no PDT rule. I can day trade short all this stuff with no PDT rule. I can essentially day trade the QQQ price action in futures, no PDT rule. Look at the NASDAQ 100 rip up. And Top Step, again, is the most legit funded program in the world. They give you a demo and they test your skill. If you could pass the test, they fund you. If you don't pass the test, you're only out what you pay for the combine. And again, go back to remember me saying that most day traders lose money. You'll probably lose your first few accounts. It makes no sense to put up thousands of dollars yourself in the beginning. It makes way more sense to try a funded account program. If you lose, it's not the end of the world. It builds your skill just taking the challenge. It teaches you how to trade under pressure. And it's a perfect middle ground of pressure. But if you're good enough to pass it, once you're funded, you get a 90% split. There's free funding coaches, tons of great resources. Just a really useful thing for traders that limits your risk. But if you're good enough to get funded, you keep 90% split anyway. And so the market's still churning up here. If you want to check out Top Step, they are a sponsor of mine. Remember, guys, I am terrible at this stuff and have no idea what I'm talking about. I might be wildly wrong about everything. Understand rule CFTC, rule 4.41 with these funded account programs, just so you guys understand this. And again, this is the combine account we've been trading on for the last few days. But if you want to check out Top Step, that's the link. Market looks strong right now. Market looks strong. Gold's still moving up. Q's still moving up. The SPY's still moving up. SPY over 500 at about 500.5 right now. They never pay. They pay out millions of dollars every year in actual withdrawals. Retail sales are exactly as the name suggests. How many, retail sales they were. The percentage increase or decrease. Look at this big dip here, guys. I would say this report's neutral. Again, jobless claims and the Philly Fed Index signaled economic strength. Retail sales signal economic weakness. Right, so I would say these are neutral results. Jobless claims, economic strength. Retail sales, economic weakness. Philly Fed, economic strength. But retail sales, the one that was signaling weakness, is a much stronger report than the other two, right? So 2-1, but one stronger than the other two. So it's kind of flat. I would say it's a pretty neutral reading. Gold break it down to 2008. So pretty much people didn't lose their jobs, but people aren't spending money. Right, exactly, Chris. That's about right. But again, remember, I'm biased in Top Step's favor, of course, because they pay me money. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm always transparent and honest in that regard, so remember that. All right, so again, we got this little upward trend here. It looks like a nice little upward trend. Gold bouncing up a little bit as well. I'm trying to wait so I can day trade this. I don't know what I want to do here, though. This is such a neutral report, and the market's up so much already. But it does look like an upward trend. We also have the Q and the 200 EMA right at this level. I'm going to go ahead and buy this. Oh, dude, I got in right at the worst time. The buy would have worked. I just didn't quite catch it. All right, we're flat here. And again, this is the futures market, right? So I can day trade short, all that good stuff. No PDT rule. Yesterday, we made hundreds of dollars in this account, so we're going to try to get... Our goal is to build up a cushion first. I think the risk management system you take in these combines is you build up a cushion first. Once you have a cushion, then I scale up and take larger risks. All right, so we just made about 30 or 40 bucks. A little small trade. Again, the goal is to build up a cushion first. If you look at my performance yesterday on this account, today we made $40 so far. Yesterday... Oh, we lost yesterday. We lost 100 bucks. Oh, I forgot yesterday. I thought I made money yesterday. I'm sorry. We lost 100 bucks. I'm going to start buying a little bit into this now. I'm not going to take 2 contracts though. Goal is to build up a cushion first. And so we're just going to go back and forth with this. See if we get a pop back up. Build up a cushion of profit. Although we are pretty flat from jobless claims numbers. Pretty flat. Gold is bouncing back up though. That's nice. Alright, we're back green. After this, I might switch to micros, I think. Because with micros, I can scale in, which is kind of what I try to do when I'm building up profit on the day. And it limits my risk as well. Yeah, I'm going to cut this. We're basically flat on the day. Right now, we made money, lost money. I'm going to switch to micros, which is smaller size. I think the regular NASDAQ 100 is just a little bit too sizable here. And so we're going to re-enter the same position, start scaling in on a dip. And again, losing it looks like here. I'm going to take up to 4 contracts now. And these 4 contracts is noticeably less risk than 1 contract in the regular NASDAQ. You see, I'm out 20 bucks. I'm buying this because the Q, the SPY are both at the volume weighted average price, and I like that as a bounce level. It doesn't always work, nothing does, but I don't hate the bounce level here. And so we can try to build up a cushion first and then take larger risks. There we go. All right, we got out of half of that position, got a little bit more, holding 1 contract. We'll ride this up, maybe add back to it on a pullback here. And again, you can see this is very similar to day trading stocks in the futures market on top of that. Very similar. All right, so we got a nice little bounce. I'm gonna cut this and then be prepared to scale back in on a pullback right now, if we pull back. But that was a strong candle. All right, we got 1. We're gonna slowly scale back into this. I usually love these little 1-minute pullbacks that I can get in quick, scalp it out, but. All right, we'll take a little bit more. I'm going to get up to 4 contracts here. I'm not going to take over 4. I'm trying to get my average there, so. All right, so we got 4 contracts. Let's see if we pop right back up. Slightly green. Consolidating, though. Gold's still moving up really nicely as well. I think the pattern looks strong, but you never really know here with this. All right, so we took half of that off, just protected that trade. And we'll see if we get another larger rip with smaller size. Again, we're early. This is our first trades of the day, so we're just trying to build up little cushions of profit on the day. And then we're willing to take larger risks once we have them. All right, so yeah, we're up a little bit on the day. We got a good reward to risk ratio. I am using a market order in futures. So I'm trading essentially the QQQ price action in the NASDAQ 100 futures contract. It's basically like day trading the Q, but the price is different, but it's the same price action. Looks like I cut that at the right time. I don't know whether I want to buy back on this dip. I guess I do, but it's going to be small now. All right, we took half off that. Or maybe add back some size. 1 contract's a little bit too small here. I'm going to take half of that off. So I got out of that one quick. It looks like it was the right move. I'm either going to let this one roll or take the rest off soon. Coinbase is falling down fast. Kind of flat on the rest. Very small size. Alright, so we added a little bit more to it. Or maybe add some more. That was a fake out candle though, unfortunately. And again, we might just get chopped out. We're trading choppy price actions going back and forth. Yeah, I'm going to have to cut this too. This is big red action. All right, we're still green on the day, but small. Kind of going back and forth here. We'll hopefully get some better movement towards the opening bell. Fees with Toss. Toss, I have no fees. It's zero commission in stocks, at least. Which I'm up really nicely in stocks, too. On the day. We're up like $100, which is nice. Alright guys, so we are basically completely neutral from when the report dropped. The report dropped right here. We're up a little bit, but you don't have certain levels you buy sell from. You just get in willy-nilly. No, I'm attacking the range, man. Again, if you can't see what I'm doing, we have an upward trend, right? Or at least we looked like we did leading into this. And so what you saw me do is when we got towards the top of the range, this area, I would take profit. When we got towards the bottom of the range in this area, I would buy it, you know? And so I'm not just kind of randomly clicking buttons. I'm buying it at the bottom of the range down here. And then when it pushes up like this, I would take profit up at these levels. Look at John Madden. We're going to go like this, and we're going to go over here, and we're going to get the touchdown, you know? The annexation of Puerto Rico. SoFi about to rip. Maybe I'm in SoFi. We'll see if it moves. SoFi up today. Hey, I didn't even realize I was green on SoFi. You love to see it. You're one of the top 3 gurus in the world. Definitely top three gurus ever. Yeah, market's flat. Again, it's choppy. We scaled down our size because of this reason. And granted, I'm certainly more loose with micro contracts because it's such a small size that it's, you know, we're trying to build up a cushion, but it's also very small. No, this is Chart Prime. I'm trading Top Step Combine account on Chart Prime. I'm also funded in 2 accounts, but this is a Combine account we've been working on for the last week. I guess I'm going to buy this because we've confirmed slightly upward movement, but it's very choppy. Luckily, though, I'm trading micros, guys, and so my sizing's very small. The reason I'm buying this is because it looks like the Q is holding that volume-weighted average price 200 EMA level, which I do think is a good buy level, but who knows? Also, my win-loss ratio is 5-to-1 today. So, like, if I'm just randomly clicking buttons, man, I'm one of the luckiest people ever. Yeah, this is a Quant Tower. Quantower. All one word. Well, where's Bitcoin at? Has Bitcoin been moving? Will Bitcoin break 53,000 today is the question. Yeah, this is just boredom trades. I just gotta cut this and wait. It might, you could argue this is a bull flag. but you know, too consolidated of range to really have some big edge. Yeah, it's been flat today for sure. It's probably because tomorrow. It's probably because tomorrow we have PPI inflation data coming out, right? So PPI inflation data is the producer price index. It's the other side of CPI, right? Usually, I don't know. I guess they scheduled it because we had revised data come out yesterday for PPI. But usually we get CPI and then the next day we get PPI. For whatever reason, they did CPI on Tuesday, PPI on Friday this week. Again, I'm not sure why. Most of the time my data's pretty good for, you know, no real delays there.
Your call has been for.
Hey guys, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go check on my son. My son is sick. I think my wife might have taken him with her, but I want to go make sure and just make sure he's okay. So I'll be right back. All right, I'll be right back. All right, we're back. There we go. Music's working. All right, good. All right, so we broke under this big support level that we drew, and I guess we could short now. The only risk here is shorting is that the market could stay choppy. But if we get a little bounce back to this level, we'll short it. Hey, thank you guys. Market's finally correcting back down a little bit. Big down wick parallel to this. We'll see if it holds. I guess we'll start to short into this, trying to bet on a continuation. We're going to have to add back at a better level, though, and maybe not even get the chance, I guess. I'm going to try to add to it if it bounces up here, looking for this level to hold that rejection spot, but who knows if we'll get it. Jeff Bezos sells $4 billion of Amazon stock in 4 trading days. Yeah, the first move is a lot of the time a fake out with data like this. Not always, though. It just depends. But a lot of the time, you're right. Will Amazon bounce? I don't know. And again, guys, we're day trading on Top Step, a funded program in futures. Again, they give you a demo. They test your skill. What this does is it limits your risk, right? It limits your risk. And so instead of risking thousands of dollars by putting up your own money in an actual account, you could try a funded account program. And if you lose, you're only out what you pay for it, between 50 and 150 bucks for Top Step. If you pass it, you still get to keep 90%. Once you're funded, at least everything moving forward, you get 90%, as long as you hit their conditions. And again, that's pretty similar to putting the money up yourself. There's just noticeably less risk. I truly wish I had something like this in the beginning, because I would have lost less money. Again, I always tell the story. When I first got started day trading, I lost $4,000 in like a couple weeks, and I was distraught. $4,000 was a ton of money to me at the time. And so I wish I had something like that in the beginning. And I think every new trader thinks they're going to be some trading savant, but it's very rarely what happens. Most of the time they just end up losing. And so again, if you want to limit your risk at the beginning, check out Top Step. Although they are a sponsor of mine, I'm certainly biased, of course. Can't guarantee everything you want to vet with them, but remember, I'm not an investment or day trading professional. Not liable if you lose. Don't sue me, basically. Yeah, I mean, Tesla's still green on the day. And yesterday was green enough for me to make even small pullbacks be okay. Like, we're up in this trade. Let me see how much I'm actually down on. These are just small trades. Again, I'm waiting for the opening bell, team. I really am. I'll go ahead and take half off there. We're green on the day currently, but I still probably should have taken a little bit larger size. I think we could get a breakdown here. I think it's also possible we get chopped, though. Super Micro going absolutely nuts, honestly. Crazy chart. Bro, I would have blasted that bear already, dude. This man's got more patience than me. I'm seeing this video of a guy getting charged by a bear. And he's got a 12 gauge. Man has way more patience than I. Alright, so we might get another ad spot here. We didn't catch it. Again, guys, these are kind of little feeler trades. Like, try not to be too hypercritical of any trades I'm taking now. We're trading with very small size. We've limited our size a lot because I recognize choppiness early. And so these are relatively insignificant trades. Once we hit the opening bell, we're going to scale up, trade much larger size, and focus a little bit more on those type of results. All right, so there's 4 contracts here. Let's see if we get a flush back down. I'm not going to add 5, but we got 4. We're kind of hedged too because equities are green when this pushes up. And so if we lose here, we probably make a little bit on equities and vice versa. Yeah, definitely chop. Supermicro, Bank of America announced a $1,000.40 price target for SMCI Supermicro. Supermicro at 940s now. Craziness, man, for this one. It's crazy how much this thing is up. It's up 1,000%, 10x over the last 52 weeks. Just crazy returns, crazy returns. Again, we're going to stay here because Q hitting 200 EMA volume weighted average price. SPY hitting 200 EMA volume weighted average price. Big milestone potential resistance level, and if not, it's small size anyway, so we'll have more fun towards the opening bell. Alright, so there's the flush breakdown here, right around the 200 EMA VWAP level. I'd like to see a little bit larger of a break though. There we go. Didn't quite catch it in time to take profit, but I think I'm still bearish longer term view on this, but I guess I gotta be patient with it. Did you guys have some good candy and chocolates yesterday? I'm using that 1 minute and 5 minute right now, but we're trading small size and pre-market, so we're just kind of poking around. Alright guys, so let's see if we get this breakdown that we want. Very choppy flat range, guys. What are you guys doing? Are y'all red or green today? Let me know. Red or green? Yes, Curtis. I don't recommend anything, Curtis. All I'll tell you is my experience with it, with PAX. It worked incredibly well for me. Incredibly well for me. My wife got it, and this was like a month ago. My wife got it. Ran a fever for like 3 days, 4 days. High fever, miserable. I knew I was gonna catch it because I had like kissed my wife the night before, right? So like I knew I was about to catch it. And so I prepared myself for it, got a PAX prescription, and like I ran a fever for literally like 4 hours, and then it was gone. And then I never ran a fever again the entire time I had it. That PAX knocked it out completely. Knocked it out completely. All right, now we're starting to flush down again. There we go. All right, so we're finally starting to take some profit here in this trade. We're now green on the day again. I wanted to add some more to it too. I'm going to add a little bit more just because I like this downward pressure. And we're green on the day, so we can scale in and out and play around with these contracts. There we go. All right, lock in a little bit more. Take that little small little peanut trade. All right, we got a small cushion heading into the open. Hey, nice Jarrett. Congrats, that's great. Green overall. Hey, nice Jesse. Red at the moment. Green everywhere right now. I'm in super micro train. Hey, good luck, brother. Green, green AF. Green 2 for 2. Very red, red. Again, we're trading the range here. I don't know if I should short this range or what. Typically that's what I do. But and I guess we're still pretty early, so I guess we'll keep doing that. We'll short the small little pop. 2 contracts. See if we can add a little bit up here to 4, and then get ready to cut it if we can't. Get a good quick profit here. Maybe added my average isn't the best here. I should have gotten an average up here somewhere, and we didn't. So it makes me a little bit more vulnerable in the trade, and that's okay. We're still kind of flat or sideways. So it really depends on what the market does. Again, the Q, like this is the Q right now. If you want to see how flat the market is today, that is the Q over the last like 30 minutes. So very choppy, very flat, very boring day. Not really much going on so far in pre-market. Hey, congrats, Chuck. Yeah, somebody said I sold Disney at a generational bottom or something the other day. I recently got out of Disney around 110s. I'm still in a little bit of it. My average price is 90. It's at 110 right now. So, all right, so we're going to take a little bit more off there, lock some more profit in on this one. Take a little bit more off there. Right, take the rest off there. So, yeah, we're up a decent amount today. We got a little cushion. We got a 6-to-1 win-loss ratio trading micros. Again, you guys see me, like somebody's asking me what I'm doing. I'm just attacking the range. So again, here's the range. Right? So when we have an obvious range, I try to short the top, cover at the bottom. So we make a big move up, I short it, we pull back down in the range, I take profit, we bounce back up, I short it, so forth and so on until the range breaks somewhere, you know. I'm going to keep doing that when it's boring and choppy. And we've had good success with it so far, but all right, guys. Hey, we got 25 minutes. Why don't you use moving averages? I do. Again, one of the things that you'll see me do a lot is that when I trade futures, I'm actually looking at the equities version of these. So I'm actually looking at the SPY, the 200 EMA volume weighted average price ratio there, or level there. Same thing on the Q. 200 EMA, 200 EMA, 200 EMA. That's what this line signals, is where the 200 EMA volume weighted average price is. Right? Like if you look at it right here, and again, the range works. Look at the resistance it's holding. Look at the breakdown. Like we drew this support level in it like 45 minutes ago. So the range works really well. I see what y'all are seeing on the chart. Get your mind out of the gutter. Okay, get your mind out of the gutter. But no. Yeah, so we're looking at the 200 EMA specifically. I don't like any shorter term moving averages. I don't think the shorter term ones hold a lot of weight. I like looking at big long-term milestone levels like the volume weighted average price, the 200 EMA. Those tend to work fairly well for me at least. Yeah, so again, there's the breakdown. Testing the bottom of that range now. Not going to take any trades here just because we're at the bottom range. I'd rather attack the top and look for this type of move. We get a little bounce up, maybe we'll short it, but I'm sorry. CNBC anchor calls out SEC Gary G on live TV about his inaccurate criticism of Bitcoin. The market is too euphoric, maybe. Maybe. Are we extended on the upside? I don't know. It's subjective whether we are, but... I would argue we might be extended on the upside here. I would argue we might be. I'm not 100% sure, of course. I would argue we might be. I think Nvidia, Coinbase, or not Coinbase, I would say Nvidia, Alright, so we're going to add to this position here, take a couple contracts short. Been very choppy and flat day though. Somehow we're green on the day, but I'm going to add our regular 4 contract position. A little bit closer to the top here, especially with that big breakdown last. So we're going to see if we can catch this range dip. Alright, we're scalping a little bit more. Up a little bit under $100 today. Preceding the open, which is good. Really just attacking a simple range strategy. We have a pretty high reward to risk ratio too. Like our reward to risk is pretty high, even though like the amount of money we're making per trade is small. I probably want to switch to regular E-mini, not the micros anymore. It's this Ninja Trading. I'm not sure about Ninja Trading. The activation fee is just for your funded account when you get funded. Yeah, y'all are speaking a different language. Throw some symbols out. Or I have no idea what you're talking about. The news is already out, Matthew. Retail sales and jobless claims dropped earlier. I could have held that last one a little bit longer, but it's all right. We got like a 7-to-1 win-loss ratio today. So again, the people saying I'm just kind of clicking buttons. I mean, we got 7-to-1 win-loss ratio. Cheers to me. Nvidia is definitely overbought. Yeah. And again, you can see the 7-to-1 win-loss ratio is simply range attacks. Again, the only way to trade chop is to attack the range. Here's the bottom. Here's the top. I short the top. I cover the bottom. Same thing I was doing here, where old boy said I was just clicking buttons or whatever. This was less easy of a range, though. This one's much easier. But again, very simple. I can't guarantee it's going to work for you. Nobody can. Always do your own assessment trade responsibly. OCGN, bro, listen to me. Ocugen, people have been pushing Ocugen for years. It is one of those terrible penny stocks that has one of the worst long-term charts I've ever seen. All right? One of the worst long-term charts I've ever seen in a penny stock. Like, look at this chart. 7.78 to 17 cents. I'm sure reverse splits have to do with this, but still, one of the worst long-term charts you've ever seen. Why in the world would anybody invest in this? The only people that get talked into invest in this are super new, naive retail traders. Again, I think a lot of people think they have small accounts, so they have to invest in crap like this. The likelihood that you're going to succeed putting money into this is so freaking low. It's so freaking low. People have been pushing OCG in for years and years and years and years, and it has had, again, one of the worst long-term charts ever. Don't get talked into buying crap, you guys. Do you set a stop loss on your scalps? No, with scalps it doesn't make much sense to logically, or practically it doesn't make much sense to. I mean, because it's going to take me so long to set those stops. Even if I did it automated, I can just cut it when I need to cut it. You know, I'm day trading the NASDAQ, so it's not going to go to zero, and I can just set mental stops. I have stops, but they're mental. They're not physical stops. Hey, congrats, Scott. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Mullen. OCGN. Come on now, guys. Y'all know better than this, man. Again, when you look at crappy pity stocks to buy, instead of having greed go through your head, right? Like this is a really important thought process that you need to have. Be skeptical, team. Be skeptical. When you hear a crazy, super low float, sketchy penny stock being pumped up to you, instead of thinking, hey, am I going to miss out on a crazy squeeze, bruh? Am I going to miss out on some monstrous squeeze? Instead, say, hey, is this person just trying to talk me into holding a wildly depreciating asset? Don't do it. Like, be smart. Don't be gullible. Be skeptical. All right? Bars. BBIG, bro. I remember Venco Ventures, dude. I remember the same thing. SOS. People did it with SOS. SOS might have succeeded, though. It was a mining company. And so SOS is not doing that bad relative to some of these other... Oh, never mind. It's pretty bad. But still, CEI, BBIG, Dry Ships, OCGN. I've heard these companies for years and years. Everybody acts like they're the next big thing in science and biotech and crypto, whatever it is, right? Most of the time, they're terrible companies that have this huge following of bag-holding traders that are just down ridiculous percentages for a long period of time, and with confirmation bias, basically meaning they're desperate for these things to go back up because they're losing so much in it. They go from chat room to chat room saying, hey, everybody, buy this stock. Never listen to that. Be resilient, you know? All right, so again, we're going back up to the top of the range. I don't trust this pattern anymore. We've been sideways for too freaking long now. Like, I don't mind attacking it like this. And again, the price action I said was correct. Like, we are moving in this range. Shorting at the top did work. Covering at the bottom did work, exactly as I told you guys. But the longer this goes on, the less I trust it. All right, so the longer this goes on, what does that mean? That means the more likely it is to go like this, or the more likely it is to go like that, you know? And so the more likely it is to break that range eventually on one side at least. And so the longer this goes on, the less I trust it. I just don't trust it as much now because it's been going on for too long. All right? Use the force. The good force or the bad force, bro? I think many of them fail. Yeah, what a lot of people holding these crappy penny stocks don't realize is that the CEO themselves is against you. The CEO themselves are against you, right? What I mean by that is with these penny stock companies, a lot of the time, the CEO doesn't even believe in the company. They just want to pump the stock up, and the CEO is going to unload a rug pull on all the gullible investors in that company at the peak. They're going to pump that thing up and just unload all of it. And because you got to understand, for the CEOs in a lot of these penny stock companies, right? They know their company's not going to succeed long term. And so they say, hey, do I want to rug pull my investors and make $4 or $5 million? Or do I want to continue to hold shares in this company that I know, because I'm the freaking CEO of it, that is probably not going to succeed long term? Most of them choose the former, not the latter, and end up just rug pulling everybody. That's why you see a lot of like T1, T2 halts on the downside of these penny stocks. A lot of people don't realize that the penny stock CEOs are the ones pumping them up a lot of the time and dumping them a lot of the time. And so with a lot of these companies, even the CEO doesn't even believe in it. And so you got to be resilient as a trader in that way. You can't have delusions of grandeur and that you're just going to get rich investing into a 10-cent stock. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you can never make money in that way, but the odds are just so stacked against you. You have to be resilient to that type of like pressuring FOMO, delusions of grandeur. You're going to get rich. This thing's going to 1000x. You got a lot of YouTubers that post videos saying these penny stocks are going to 1000x. Go back and look at the history of those videos. You know, you'll realize that they've been wildly wrong about almost all of them. Anyways, Coinbase earnings today. Still in this range. Supermicro is still testing highs up there at 940s. It's at 934s right now. Still in the range on the Q, in the NASDAQ. SPY still in the same range. Market's pretty flat and boring. We got 10 minutes until the market opens, though. Most good companies don't start as penny stocks. Yeah, I mean, I've said that 1,000 times probably. Like, one of the arguments you'll hear from penny stock investors is like, well, they got to start off as penny stocks, right? No. Think about how most big companies, like the biggest companies in the world, think about how they IPO. They IPO immediately. They are $30, $40, $50, $60 a share, mid cap, decent market cap, decent float already. And they're never small cap companies. And so you could, Tesla, you could argue, was once a penny stock, but even it is argued. I mean, it wasn't that low for very long at all. And again, that isolating that like it's a regular thing is misleading, you know. Bitcoin flying up, looking great. Up to 52.5 thousand. Jaspreet says, use your 9-to-5 income to buy assets. If you stay consistent, it takes years. Eventually, your assets will pay enough money so you don't have to work anymore. This is that you set yourself free. For sure, right? The only, like, look, this is true. Okay? Dollar cost averaging, value investing, and compound interest are the road to financial security. I'm not going to say financial freedom, because a lot of these are keeping up with inflation, right? So, like, while you'll make a lot of money in the future, prices will also be higher and things will be more expensive in the future. So they cancel themselves out to a certain extent. Although if you do it right, you'll still make money and you'll still have financial security. You know, so it just depends on what your plan is and how lucky you get. Wait, what? They say if you can't sit like this, you have a higher chance of something of expiring in 6 years. What? All right, I gotta test myself to see if I can sit like this right now. Okay. SoundHound AI is the next big hyped up AI stock. I don't know what it's gonna do. It has a pretty bad long-term trend, in all honesty, and so I just don't trust it. But it's back up to $4 and it's gapping up huge. And so I mean, listen, at the current price, it's flat on the year, which is not that bad, right? It's not a huge downward trend. If we look at a weekly chart, though, it's a pretty rough looking chart, and it's still down pretty big percentages. And so until it starts to break over $10 or more, I'm not necessarily trusting it. Yeah, rental income is useful, of course. Yeah, GameStop was split, I believe, right? Rental income, I was explaining this to my wife as well. Like, you can buy CDs, certified deposits. You can buy bonds, you know, and they're going to pay you, you know, annual, you know, 4.5%, 4.3% or whatever. And that's great. The benefit of buying real estate is this, though, is that real estate prices typically keep up with inflation and appreciate the same as bonds, as CDs, if you have a good CD deal or whatever. But they also produce rental income as well, right? And so there's a lot of benefits to real estate where you get cash flow from them and appreciation from them a lot of the time. That's the benefit of real estate. You just got to get a place with low taxes, right? It can't be like where I live. Taxes in some places are like 2.2%, super high, unnecessary. You know. Yeah, you can trade pre-marketed futures. NVIDIA has surpassed Google as the third most valuable company in the world. Twilio did release earnings yesterday. Michael Burry updated his portfolio today. This is a big deal, according to Inverse Kramer, because he's predicted 19 of the last 2 recessions. Yeah, again, the problem with Michael Burry is he simply overpredicts crashes, and he's got this big following that, like, idolize Michael Burry, but they ignore what he's wrong with, and he's been really wrong, especially over the last 2 years. You know, 2 years ago or so, he told everybody to sell. I don't know if it was 2 years. It might have been like a year ago. He told everybody to sell around the FOMC meeting. And bears showed up in my stream and said, oh, the market's going to tank and crash. This was way back here, right? So if we look at a SPY chart, Super Micro breaking highs again. If you look at a Q chart, we'll put the Q up. This was way back here when the market was way down here, you know. And again, in hindsight, Burry was very, 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 very wrong. Market did one of the best years it's had in a long time last year. Has done one of the best years it had in a long time last year. Up 24% on the SPY in the Q roughly last year. So, and again, what happened is that he told everybody to sell was wrong. The market ripped up after the FOMC meeting. He deactivated his Twitter account. And then, you know, you didn't hear from him for a while. But for whatever reason, look, I think he's a smart guy. I talk about this all the time, but like I think Burry's problem, and I can't really judge him for it because again, like look, Burry proved a lot of people wrong. He lost friends from people being skeptical. He lost a lot of friends, and he proved a lot of people wrong in 2008 on the mortgage crisis and the mortgage disaster, right? And that was a great prediction. He saw things that other people didn't see, and the whole world shamed him and counted him out prior to the mortgage crisis. The whole world made fun of him. The whole market world made fun of him, right? Eventually, he was proven correct. And I think having so many people bet against you, having so many people count you out, and seeing so much so much corruption in the financial system that he saw, I think it's natural to be a very bearish person market-wise moving forward from that type of situation, right? I think it's normal to be bearish afterwards. But I think Michael Burry is so bearish now, or has been so bearish over the last few years, that it's hard for him to see the true state of the market, which is that the market's generally going to go up long term. You know, it's hard for him to. And so I think he's just got a lot of bias now, a lot of confirmation bias in that regard. Hey, Rosie. Here's my pup, Rosie. Come here, baby. What you doing? Come here. Yeah. This is my dog, Rosie. You just a good girl. You just a good girl. That's a good girl. All right. All right, guys. All right, guys, here we go. We got 10 seconds until the market opens up. 10 seconds. Let's see this. And 5 seconds, guys. 5 seconds. Tesla dipping down a little bit. Coinbase still testing that volume-weighted 200 EMA level. There's the opening bell. Market's still in this range here, and I just don't trust it yet. We got to wait. Supermicro is still breaking highs at 947s. 948. Q break it down though, it looks weak right at the bottom of this range. Very clear range too, I think. All right, so market's still in this range. Look at the super micro up to 950s right now. Crazy momentum. I don't like the number of people we have in the stream. Okay, 650. That's better. Yeah, let's see if it hits 1,000. Super micro could hit 1,000. I might bet on the upside because of that, because I think with how much momentum super micro has, there's a chance that like we could ride this crazy momentum up and profit from a rise in super micro and stuff like that. I think it could just drag the market up a little bit. All right, so we're gonna fix our average a little bit. Super micro is still breaking highs. We got 3 contracts. I don't usually trade this early either, and luckily we've got a cushion on the day, so like we can take some larger risks based off of this cushion. We only got 3 of the micro. We'll add up to 4, and then we're not going to add anymore. All right, Tesla almost up to 192s. Supermicro is a semiconductor microchip stock that has had one of the craziest gains all year. It's up 1,000%, up 10x. In the last 52 weeks. See what happens though. Let's see if it holds. I'm a little skeptical of markets right now. Yeah, I don't like that. So we're out. We're down $50 on the day. We'll Oh no, I'm in a position right now. Oh no, it's a short position, I think. Accidentally. Yeah, we're gonna have to cut that. That's all good. Coin ripping up too. But still in this range. Maybe if we break out of this range, we'll short. Watch Supermicro to see what it does around this VWAP level. I think that's going to be a big influence, but... Very choppy action again. Big upward movement after being at the bottom of the range. Tesla with the crazy big range. This is the NASDAQ 100 futures contract. It's basically the QQQ price. Alright, so we are breaking down here. We'll look for a small bounce and then short if we get one. A new candle opened up. Tesla breaking high since the open, though. Still very choppy, flat day. We're going back and forth a lot. Coin ripping up, though. Alright, so there's a bounce. We'll enter 2 contracts there, see if we get a rejection, but been a flat, choppy, boring day. Alright, we'll cover a little bit at the bottom. Maybe find a way to add some more back. 2 contracts now. Take a little bit more off there. Lock that in. Take a little bit more off there. Alright, so we're flat on the day again. It's just kind of back and forth. We'll look for another larger bounce and short into that. I think we might have some downward pressure from Supermicro looking weak here. And Q breaking down, of course. We're hitting the previous closing price, though, so maybe we bounce spot, but... Let's see if we hold... Alright, so we did get that breakdown. Look at the Q right at the previous closing level here. Look at that huge breakdown in markets. Not a huge, I guess, but definitely a breakdown. How am I so green today? Oh, I'm green from Tesla. I didn't even see Tesla pushing up as much as it is. I gotta take a little bit off now, I guess. I'm gonna take, yeah, I'm gonna take some off of Tesla finally, because I can. All right, we just took like a little bit less than a third, I believe, off. Hey, Jack, you okay, buddy? Sorry, my wife should still be here, but... Here, hold on, guys. I hear my son coughing. I just want to make sure he's okay. I'll be right back. Yeah, he's okay, but where's AMC at? AMC's completely flat on the day, kind of boring. We'll see if Tesla can keep ripping up. That's good for me. I'll start to enter a little position here. Add if it continues moving up. See, the only problem is the Q is bouncing over that previous closing price, which might signal strength. Supermicro bouncing right at the 200 EMA as well. I'm trying to take larger size now. We've scaled into this bounce. See if we get the flush rejection that we want, but still pretty small size. There we go. Took half. Took a little bit more. I'm going to short into this again if we can, but I don't know if I'll have time to. Alright, took another piece off. Green on the day. Take a little bit more off. So we're green on the day again. Tesla finally pulling back some. Baba green again on the day. Delta green. I probably should take a little bit more off of Delta. I swing traded Delta. I bought it. I don't know when I bought it, but I'm gonna take a little bit more off here. All right, so we're out of a little bit more on Delta. Just taking profit on the bounce here for this trade. The Q's right around the previous close. I'm probably not gonna trade this. Over 200 on the day in equities, at least. Yeah, over 200 on the day in equities. Tesla bouncing back up. Mostly from Baba, Boeing. Honeywell's green too. Snapchat's green again. Spot Trade is green again. Walgreens is green. Walmart is green. Exxon is green. Alright, so two big up wicks here. I'm going to go ahead and short into this now, I guess. We're green on the day. Job is to see it reject here, and so we'll take up to 5, but once we get a decent cushion, we're going to start using the regular E-mini instead of micros. Alright, took another half, took another piece. Maybe gonna add some more if we get a good move, but if not. And see, you can day trade the futures market very similar to day trading stocks, just no PDT rule in futures. I can day trade short, buy market, sell market, just like I'm doing now. Short, go long, get in and out of these positions quick. No PDT rule, and the funded account program aspect of it lets you learn how to trade with limited risk. Cut a little bit more. I'm going to get the rest out of that. Alright, so yeah, we're up a decent little amount now. We've got a nice little cushion. Now with the cushion, we're going to pivot towards trading the regular NASDAQ, which is going to move a lot faster than this. So we got a little cushion. Now we're going to pivot to trading the regular NASDAQ. Again, it's going to move a lot faster. But we've got a big cushion on the day in both stocks and... not a big cushion in futures, but a cushion nonetheless. Alright, we're short NASDAQ. Alright, just made 30, 40 bucks just now scalping that move. We're up almost 100 on the day again. Look at the only reason I'm skeptical of shorts right now is super micros all the way back over the volume weighted average price and trying to hold. Also, Tesla's ripping over highs again, up to 193s now. I'm gonna take a little bit more off here, just a small position, just a little bit more to lock in some more profit since we're up so much. There we go. Protect the trade. We're currently up 250 or so in equity. Here's my equities positions, my stock positions. We're up almost exactly 250 right now in stocks, so that's nice. But again, I'm kind of skeptical of shorting here. Q back over the previous close, super micro ripping up. So I just made another $50 here. Scalping, we are now up 120. We got a look. You can see a 5-to-1 win-loss ratio in the day. We kind of went back and forth for a long time. Alright, there's another big breakdown. We're right around lows though, so we'll see if we get a follow through from lows. Super micro still trying to hold up there, but man, the market's trending against it. Looks like I was wrong about that direction. Still green, but like wrong about the overall direction here because we just cracked lows. Now we're looking really weak. We're short again. I just made another $40 or so. Scalping. We built up the cushion and now we're kind of swinging into that cushion. We got $160 basically. Win-loss. I like shorting this type of move, but it's also, I don't want to get stuck in a big bounce. Gotta watch Super Micro and Tesla a lot. Although, bad fill here. We built up a cushion and now we're losing, unfortunately, with the cushion that we built. So, gonna get ready to cut it pretty soon. Probably shorting too close to lows here. So yeah, now we're down on the day again, just kind of going back and forth. We're down less than $100, or I think less than 100. But just kind of going back and forth. We might pull up the regular E-mini. Let me pull this chart up. Yeah, here's the regular E-mini. Alright, so we just scalped a little bit more. E-mini moves a little bit slower if you're wondering why I might want to pull this up. Alright, so we actually just scalped another big trade. It was a very risky trade. I don't know if I should have done it. Big drawdown on the day, but we are back up to 210 or so on the day. Very risky trade though. Not really proud of that trade, but it is a combine account, so I'm able to take larger risks. And again, we kind of bottom picked this one. The reason we bottom picked it is because I was looking at a couple of these blue chip stocks and seeing them hold, and the S&P 500 is ripping up. The Q now back over the previous close. And we're still up about 250 here or so. So yeah, kind of a risky day, but it's all good. We ended up making money. I'll take it. And again, if you want to check out Top Step, this is day trading on Top Step. Great way to limit your risk as a trader where you're not risking a ton of money. The base combine's $49. The top one that gets you $150,000 in funding, if you pass it, is only $150. Once you're funded, there's a 90% split. They give you a demo. Before you're funded, they give you a demo and they test your skill. They give you a profit target, a max loss. It teaches you how to trade under pressure. Perfect middle ground where you're not risking that much. You still have some pressure. And if you're good enough to pass it, they fund you between 50 to 150K with a 90% split. They're the most legit one in the world. They pay out millions in actual withdrawals, fund thousands of traders a year. So it's a great way to learn how to day trade with limited risk where you're not risking thousands of dollars per account. And I think that just makes perfect sense. And if you want to check it out, here's the link. They're sponsors, those who I'm biased. You want to vet and confirm all this stuff with them. And remember, I am terrible at this stuff. Have no idea what I'm talking about. And you want to make sure to check all of this with them just to be sure, of course, and understand CFTC Rule 4.41. And yeah, if you want to check them out, here is the link. Also, my other sponsor on the day is a company called Chart Prime. It's a trading view service you can use in stocks, crypto, forex, futures. I'm curious to see how they move today on Chart Prime. Let's take a look. So I usually look at like the NASDAQ futures contract on Chart Prime. The E-mini kind of looks like bullish pattern here, but again, the Q is looking the opposite, which is very weird. So like back testing wise, this looks pretty impressive. Pretty impressive over the last few days. So look, here's the NASDAQ, right? This is a company called Chart Prime. So you can use it with anything on a symbol on TradingView, right? Number one, as you can see, this is a 5-minute chart. You can see like 25 minutes ago, you got the strong sell signal, beautiful drop. This one was wrong. I would even say this one was wrong. So these two were wrong, right? But let's back test. This one was right. We got to follow through bounce afterwards. So that's 2 for 2, but let's keep going back. 2 for 2. Again, let's keep going back. This one was right. This one was right. Look at the strong signal, beautiful bounce. Sell signal, beautiful drop. Sell signal here, beautiful drop. Strong buy signal, beautiful bounce. Sell signal, probably got to follow through in that. Strong buy signal. Let's see, that one's not working just to be safe. Strong buy signal, bounce. Strong buy signal, bounce. Sell signal, drop. All right, so let's tally these up. 3 didn't work, if I remember correctly. 3. And let's see how, out of how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 3 out of 12 didn't work. Pretty high accuracy. If you look at that, 3 out of 12 percentage-wise is close to 90%. It's not quite 90%, but it's close. I think it's 85% if my math in my head is correctly. So 9 out of 12. It's 75%. Sorry. Was a 10 off, but yeah, 75%. So again, pretty genuinely good accuracy. I can't fake this either. Nobody can. You want to test it yourself. You can check it on any time frame. Like look at an hourly chart. I could look at Tesla, Apple, Amazon. I could look at futures contracts. The hourly chart is honestly one of the most impressive ones. So even if you just look at the hourly chart over the last few days, sell signal, drop, buy signal, days of bounces, sell signal, days of drops, buy signal, days of bounces. You get a couple good trades, it'll pay for itself. It's $40 a month. I can't guarantee you're gonna make money. Nobody can, but genuinely impressive in my opinion for like a service. Genuinely impressive. Again, they are a sponsor. I'm biased, but if you want to check it out, again, I can't guarantee you're gonna make money. I'm biased because they pay me money, but if you want to check it out, here's the link. I'll see you guys later. My son is sick, guys, so I gotta go bow out for the day. I'll see you guys back later on today with Coinbase earnings. Coinbase does drop earnings today, but yeah, I got to get out of here. My son's not feeling great. He's he has been running a fever. He's not anymore. His fever's gone. But yeah, I got to get out of here. SPY ripping up as I say that. Y'all be safe. Good luck. I'll see you guys later.